Right, so welcome everyone to this week's episode of A.W.O.L on Wednesday. The A.W.O.L somewhat dedicated to America, but that sees also a lot of European players joining. And joining me today is actually one of those European players, Runefolk from
Yeah,
team AQZ, the Altered Quarantine Zone. So great to have you on stream, Runefolk.
yeah.
I know
Good to
that
be here again.
some of the people looking at the Monday streams are probably already familiar with you, and you also do some other streams. You were telling me earlier than today you also did a stream for a new unique tournament, which is I think the week 2 of that tournament.
Exactly.
Do
Yeah,
you want to tell us a little bit about it? Uh, I guess it's technically a competitor, but we're all friends on Altered, so
yeah.
I'm happy to talk about this. So yeah, do you want to tell us a word about this? How did it go? What's the idea?
So yeah, no unique tournament or championship series. I think it is hosted from Team AGT, and I think mostly from Meltdown as well. But I'm not sure if he's the only one organizing it or if there are multiple people. But yeah, they currently don't have a one of their they currently don't have their own stream setup, so I think Keelan just asked if Team AQZ can cast the games for them, and they agreed. So currently, Freeloader is I think the one that's streaming no unique championship, and whoever has time is helping him out and co-casting with them together. And this week or last week there was a limit for 64 players, and they with their first event they got that mark and had all of the 64 players filled. And this time they increased the limit to 128, but there were only 80 players, still a lot of players, and 50 of them still played to the end. And it was there were at the end 6 no players, one on Sigmar and one on what was the other one? I forgot. Was it a Fen? I'm not sure anymore. You probably have to check on 39 cards for that one. And yeah, last week I was able to play on no unique championship as well. But yeah, this time I sadly didn't make it and was there on the cast for the last 1.5 hours, I think.
Very nice.
And
Yeah,
last time I got third with Kojo and Buddha for and yeah, got 7 points for that
very
one.
nice.
And yeah,
All right. So yeah, for those of us who like didn't have a chance to catch up on the games, how different is it from the regular meta game? And do you feel like the games are significantly different? Are they slower? Are they yeah? What do you think about the gameplay for that format?
it didn't feel too different for me. I think there some heroes are. We've seen a new trace deck that I've never seen before with the uniques, so that was exciting today. But otherwise, I think there's a bit more Kojo. Well, actually, last week I've seen there were only 4 Kojos, but 3 of them got top 16. So Kojo seemed to have done pretty good on week 1, and we've seen a lot more Kojo this week around. And also, we haven't seen as much Sigismar on the no unique championships as I felt like there's in the regular ones. But actually, looking at the hero distribution last week, there were still 7. I haven't seen a single Sigismar in my games or on stream last week, but there were still a lot. And this week as well, I think we have seen a single Sigismar that was on the final table, but otherwise surprisingly little Sigismund, and also surprisingly little Afanas. Still Tempe Delanesh on Afanas, still doing a whole lot there, but otherwise Afanas got dropped a bit, I think.
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting because I think those are probably the two of the best decks currently in the main format, and but I think a lot of people would agree that they have some really strong uniques, and so it's not too surprising to me that they would show a little bit less in a unique format.
Yeah,
But it's been interesting to me. Yeah, I would want to at some point to try and play some games with that. Uh, Even
yeah,
though, like, I think uniques are like a very exciting part of the game. Um, yeah, I think I mean a lot of people can acknowledge that it also leads to some frustration, and I think it's super interesting to see some players starting to experiment with other formats, and this one getting a little bit of traction is, yeah, not totally unexpected to me. How many players did you have in this week's edition?
This week there were 80 players.
80 players. So yeah, that's
And
pretty good, I think, for like what you would consider like a side format of the game right now.
yeah.
All right, and
And
what do you expect to see in today's tournament? So we're starting in about 4 minutes now. Everyone
I,
getting their deck list ready. What can you tell us about the state of the meta game, and how did it evolve from the last couple weeks?
I think on Wednesdays earlier or in set one we've seen a lot of America's player playing Sigmar, and I'd still expect that a lot. Otherwise, I think Tasia still doing very good. Afanas still also one of the top decks, and also currently Lindy and Fen also got a lot more popularity and also seeing good results with players like Genetic or well, I think Lindy had a couple of players that did quite well, and I think Resh from Altered Aces and also Zoa got 6-0 finishes with Lindy, so that was surprising to me. And yeah, I think otherwise that are so the three strongest are, in my opinion, still Tasia, Sigmar, Afanas, and upcoming are Lindy and Fen for me.
Yeah, it's interesting to see Lindy Way coming up. It definitely got a lot of new tools in Trial Bifrost, but I'm not surprised that it took a bit of time for people to settle on the right list and understand like how to use those new tools. It's probably one of those decks that is a little bit more intricate to play. Um, I
Yeah,
know I have one player at my local game store who tried to play it, and he lent me this deck to give it a test run, and I was a bit confused at some points.
yeah.
Uh,
Sometimes the decision making
yeah.
is quite hard with how to play out a turn, but yeah, it can definitely be very strong.
Yeah. Also, just like
We
for
play,
the laughs, at some point I was staring at my hand was like 3 off you go, and I was like, if this was a poker tournament, I would have a really good hand, but with
yeah,
my opponent, like yeah, having really a lot of cheap creatures, it wasn't like cheap characters, it wasn't like that
yeah,
that relevant.
and
Anyways, yeah, I think it's but I think it's a really cool deck, and I'm glad to see some people trying to perform with it. In terms
and
of, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
on AQZ we had a little chat about if jellyfishes were still around as uniques, and we came up to the conclusion that it might be even one of the best decks if it played 3 unique jellyfishes that maybe loop themselves. So
So,
that I'm excited to see when jellies return and how they return. So yeah,
did we have any news about those being unsuspended? Like, did they communicate anything
sadly
yet?
not, no.
Not yet, right? Yeah, it's interesting because I think like this caught maybe a few people by surprise, because we hadn't seen like those jellyfish really work in season one. Uh, but it's
I think I
interesting
was
that you say that
on
it was pretty justified because because they would be pretty broken.
I think in season one, I was one of the only players that at least got tournament results with with the jellyfishes.
Hmm.
I'm not sure if you've looked at player names, but the on 39 cards, all the Mao 98 entries are my entries on Lindy. So yeah,
That's
I,
pretty cool.
that wasn't actually my account. It was um borrowed by Bubo, if some people know him. He's sadly left altered after the suspension of
Mm,
Jellyfish and
yeah.
the other cards. And I think we won't see him again soon, but I certainly hope so. And yeah, sadly, a rough time for the Jellyfish.
I mean, yeah, of course, obviously, like some like those kind of decisions are always going to hurt some people, but I think that's true of any TCG, unfortunately. All right, I'm looking at the chat. Like I can say hi to Cole, Simon, Bendy, and the usual suspects. Hey, Kayuko, nice to have you here. Hello, Kelon guy. Hope everyone is excited in playing in this tournament. So we have. I'm looking at the participants list as we are just starting now, um, and yeah, we definitely have a lot of names that we've
Oh,
seen before there. So excited to see how this plays out. All
We
right.
still got up to 65 players. I was
Oh yeah,
a
last
few
minute. So
minutes ago. We were still on 50 players, I think.
some people joined at the last minute, which is great.
And I'd love to see at the top that today on our team chat, someone created a logo for our team, and I like to see at the top of the leaderboards 2 AQZ members with that logo or icon. That's amazing.
Oh yeah, it's nice. It has a little bit of a cyberpunk inspiration to it. I like it.
Yeah.
All right, and already we see. So I don't know if you are familiar with this team, HAT.
Yeah, it's a Spanish team. I'm not too familiar with them, but yeah, I've definitely heard of them, and
It looks
they
like
are
they are
a
already
Spanish
doing
team.
some friendly fire on round one with two of their members fighting each other.
Yeah,
That happens.
do you want to
Is
watch
there?
that?
Is there? Do you want to watch this? I don't know if they started the game
Yeah,
yet.
we can.
Okay, so yeah, let's jump into it. So yeah, two
Javi
Spanish players.
Navarro, definitely, I definitely have read the name Javi Navarro and also texted with him a bunch. And Mookie Wallace, I've seen on tournaments, but I haven't seen too much of him or of them.
All right, so I'm trying to load the game, but
Yeah, it's still loading game out, so probably have to wait a few seconds.
yes, I think you're right. Try to keep a tab on the other games going on. So we should be here in just a minute, hopefully. If they still don't load the game in a few seconds, we'll probably jump to something else.
Yeah, I think the rating screen is it's either for, so it depends on, I'm not sure on what it depends, but either it's for waiting for players to select decks or for even manoring, but I'm never sure for what you're waiting here.
Okay, so yeah, let's try to open another one, maybe. All right.
Table 14 also seems interesting to me with Zoa, Lindy player, and Team Meltdown. I'm not sure what Meltdown currently is playing.
I think,
yeah,
yeah, I
the
think
game is
Zoa is
also not
also like,
starting yet.
yeah, Zoa is
Yeah.
also not, hasn't confirmed the table yet. So, oh, and the HAT game, I think is starting. So we'll jump into that.
Okay.
All right. So our first game of the night is going to be Kojo versus Afanas. And we see them trade expeditions on day one. We see Afanas player expended a helping hand just to be able to draw a card of their mage.
Definitely one of the better starts for the Afanas getting that boost or the 3 boost onto the mage dancer. I think the Kojo could have had a little bit of better start if they also opened with a tiny gen. I was talking with Freeloader about that earlier, that Haven Sarengar plus Tiny Gen is one of the best openers you can have for the Kojo, and you obviously don't get that every turn, but yeah, that opening for the Afanas with repeating to play their Mage Dancer and the Helping Hand just feels amazing to get 2 draws already on day 2 without using a magical training.
Yeah, that makes total sense. The only downside maybe on the Afanas side is only being able to play on one expedition. But I think and correct me if I'm wrong, but like the game plan for Afanas is often to trade expeditions and hope to close with a small step giant leap. So can't be too unhappy to do that.
And Kojo is definitely more forced to make plays happen early on, because the strength of Kojo should always be in the earlier stages of the game. And the Afanas, the longer the game goes, the more card advantage they should gather and should just be able to out resource the Kojo. But there are definitely Kojo lists that also do run a lot of card draw or resupplies, so they do have tools to keep up with that. And they also can have some uniques that spell trouble for the Afanas with cards that directly discard characters that cost 3 or less. I've seen a
Yeah,
bunch of
sure, sure.
Akloots like no, a bunch of Amarocks like that, or also
Mm-hmm.
on other characters like Hua Mulan or Wukong that can definitely be very strong.
Okay, and we see Afanas leading here with Flamel, getting back their magical training, so just more like draw card advantage. Meanwhile, like Kojo has kind of a slow start with the double Bastion, but that's still pretty scary for most decks to face. I don't know if Afanas cares as much. What do you think about that?
Yeah, the Haven setup for the Kojo is definitely nice, but hitting 2 times a non-character for on the resupplies
A
is
little bit
definitely not
tricky.
the best. But they're still making it work and just trading expeditions. But the longer this goes and the longer they keep trading, the more favored I'd say the Afanas is. And with the Tiny Jin now, I think the Kojo definitely has tools to gather an advantage on their own with just getting more mana available and being hopefully able to stall longer than the Afanas. But with most of the cards that Kojo plays, they are usually more expensive than the Afanas ones. But hopefully they still manage to outstep them in later stages of the game. And the Buddha also just helping out a lot. And I'm not. Yeah, I was just thinking the Kojo could have used the Arcolano milk last turn to boost up the Buddha, but the milk would have been just sent to reserve again because they won on the companion side.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The usage of the magical trainings right here from the Afanas is interesting to me. That they are not using it to actually boost characters and get stronger on the board, but just using it as card advantage and as after use to just see what the Kojo's trying to do and not to boost up their own
Yeah.
characters.
Interesting to me also that they decided to discard the Flammel there. I think there's almost no chance that they're not going to play another spell this turn, so conserving the mana early feels a little weird to me. I wonder what's the line of thinking there.
Yeah, I think usually you're not playing your Flamel a second time anyway, so you're most likely ending up using the supportability of your Flamels anyway. And yeah, you can also use the supportability later, but I've seen a bunch of players just use their supportabilities that they want to use anyway, that they use them as early as they can.
Mm-hmm. Maybe trying to play around something that would. I mean, we just saw the Heaven Bouncer. They could have another one, I guess, or also just something that exists.
Yeah.
Okay, and so yeah, and so we're saying like the Kojo player already almost exhausted on mana. Probably not going to be able to contest this moth on the companion side.
Yes, so we're probably looking at another trade of expeditions, and now they do decide to play that Arcolano Milk just to set up for the next turn. And I also like to just play the Arcolano Milk as a setup, but also just as after you, but also as setup. It's also fine, and that bouncer for next turn could be a lot of stats, but with Afanas already having a lot of cards in hand, they probably already have removal tools for big bodies that the Kojo might put out.
Yeah, Afanas already like
Or,
showing a lot of card advantage there.
yeah, already having after maning 7 cards in hand is quite a lot. Also, four cards for Kojo at this point also feels like quite a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Since Kojo for me
Right.
usually plays on 1 to 2 cards in hand, but yeah, also not really having cards in reserve right now. With a double Haven setup, that's you pretty much always want to have as many cards in reserve as possible, just to benefit from your Havens as much as possible. But sadly, not possible yet at this point, and yeah, just having to play from hand right now probably because you don't want your bouncer to immediately get removed.
Yeah, and Kojo, unlike like maybe some action decks, doesn't really have any way to uh, cheat cards into reserve, as far as I know.
Yeah, I think there are for Bravos there are no ways to accept off Haven to directly get cards from your hand into reserve. Unless of course you're playing a unique salvager. That's one of the cards that's still able to resupply from hand. And we see that this one is from hand resupplying, and also on play, you may put a card from your hand in reserve to resupply. So they're getting one card put in reserve and 2 resupplies, which is very nice for 2 cost.
And so all of a sudden, as we were saying, like their reserve is empty and the havens are pretty sad. We see 3 cards being bumped in reserve. Unfortunately for Muchiwalas, 2 of them being spells, so still being a little bit unlucky there.
Yeah, and I think they put the did they put the Pathfinder into reserve, or
I believe they put the Pathfinder. Let me double check.
Getting 4 resupplies and none of them were characters.
Yeah, that's pretty
very
sad.
unfortunate. So it looks like they will the Kojo will only be able to play 1 more card this turn unless they have a 1 cost in hand. I could imagine a Fire Rabbit will be the card, and could be a card they can play from hand. But yeah, also just this Pathfinder right now looks very solid for the hero expedition.
So it's interesting to see them put the boost on the Mage Dancer here. If you're Kojo, like how worried are you about Ofugo on your bouncer right now?
I'd say I'd be very worried about it with not having a single removal yet and Afanas having 6 cards in hand. But there's just using the physical training to to be able to be winning right now on both expeditions. And I'm not sure if that's actually a good play, because now and off you go onto the bouncer means you're losing companion side, and also 1 boost onto the mouth is able to block you on that side. And now you're losing, going down 1 expedition already. I think if you just played out the Pathfinder, you would have had enough stats to outstat the Moth.
Yeah, I think that's right with two havens. Maybe the downside being like you wouldn't really have any, or you would have 1 less character in reserve for next turn, but trading an advantage next turn for an expedition loss this turn, I think probably rarely a good idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I agree with what you said, but Kojo player probably didn't have like a ton of option either.
Yeah, and they may be just valuing the card advantage with having more cards in hand over the expedition. So, but I don't think that's the optimal play. But yeah, maybe they draw into things that are now more beneficial than with having 2 characters in reserve. Also, just being able to put anything from your hand in reserve with the Salvager also encourages a bit of drawing cards, because you can find something more useful. So you're for sure not, so you can go sure that you have characters in reserve and not only resupplying into spells and other havens.
Right, and now we see them taking advantage of the giving some milk to Buddha to make it stronger.
Finally.
All right, and another bouncer.
Oh, that's nice one, but with the 7 cards, I feel like the more cards your opponent has, the less valuable Sabotage actually becomes. But still, removing a 1 cost character from reserve that's a 2 cost from hand is still a good play. And yeah, now the Afanas has to show other characters to play from hand, but I still think there are a lot of tools available to them. And it's interesting to me, a bunch of Afanas have dropped their rare Sneezer Shrooms and started playing rare Spindle Harvesters just to be able to play cheaper characters. And yeah, that's what we see here as well. I'm not too sure about how good it actually is or how many players do play that, but it's definitely a new addition that I kind of like. And yeah, I'm curious about why before we've seen much more Sneezer Shrooms over the Harvesters, which we see here now.
Was it because everyone was playing 3 unique Harvesters?
Maybe that as well, but also the players that weren't on Harvesters played oftentimes rather the Sneezer Shrooms. And also, I remember Keelan say that the Sneezer Shroom rare felt better to play than the rare Harvesters, but I might also just remember that wrong.
No, it's definitely possible. Yeah, I wonder also like sometimes the perception of people evolve, and I think the 1 mana versus 2 to me like intuitively seems like a big deal. But yeah,
Yeah.
there are also some new cards from Afanas after Trial by Frost, which could influence some things.
And we do see a new kind of unique for Afanas here that I do really like. It's a token generator for Afanas. I've seen this as with moths already, that whenever you play a spell, you can create a moth. But this one does whenever you play a spell, if it has 1 boost, you can create a recruit and target expedition. And also if you have a landmark from hand, you can from anywhere you can return a spell from your reserve to your hand. So as soon as Afanas gets playable landmarks, or well,
yeah.
they can actually play the Nilam, but not too many Afanas actually do that. This one gets a lot more value because the second effect is quite valuable in Afanas, and also currently it's probably more played for the token generation than the spell bounce. But here we see another unique, and this one is an at dusk spell bouncing spindle harvester.
Yeah, so this one is more classic, I guess.
Yeah. Also very nice one with the anchor from hand. But yeah, only a 2/2 spindle harvesters. The optimal ones are for sure the 1/1 costs, but they are also much harder to find, and
yeah,
yeah.
and usually quite expensive.
Yeah.
I'm sure this one isn't cheap either, but
Yeah.
okay. And so we see through spamming like a lot of characters on the hero side, Afanas trading again, but because they managed to get 1-0 last turn, they now are in a pretty commanding lead with their expedition being adjacent, whereas Kojo would have to win on both sides to be able to win. And we can even get like and of course like the small step giant leap would be able to close the game, as Freeloader is making sure we don't forget in the comments.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see if they have it, but considering how many cards they have drawn in this game, they have seen 27 cards with the 13 they have, or 26 cards, 36 cards. Sorry, no, 26 cards. Sorry, I'm tired.
Yeah.
I know it's not as late as where you are, but still a bit late for me. So yeah, 26 cards seen out of the 39 that they are playing means there's a pretty good chance that they will have found the small step at this point.
Yeah.
Oh, but maybe not.
Actually
Okay, they lead
don't.
with the Tooth Fairy. Going to sabotage this Mighty Jin.
We've also already seen Afanas players that, or one in particular, I can check on 39 cards if I find who that was. I think it was an Altered Ace member, yeah, Marjorie, that wasn't running small step giant leaps at all, and still got first place on Monday's A.W.O.L with going 7-0 on Afanas without any small steps. That was
pretty
exciting.
impressive, yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a secret tip. Like you don't need small step giant leap. It's true that it's that's a card like I think some people have pointed to as being maybe problematic, but there is definitely a real cost to it. And so yeah, it would be interesting if a Fanas player would gradually stop playing them or go down to less copies. Although this is starting to be a little bit scary for them, maybe. We are seeing the roles a little bit reverse, where Kojo has all the mana advantage now. The only issue is they only have 2 cards in hand, so they would have to be able to match what Javi Navarro is doing, and then Beauty Sleep kind of making this impossible.
Yeah.
Unless they find some really strong unique that would, I don't know, remove a character from the opposing expedition or something. I'm trying to get creative here. I think it's
That's
probably
actually,
yeah.
I think removal characters usually are on 4 cost, but that would have definitely been an option here. But yes, sadly, the Tomoe was a good start to still win this one, but yeah, the Beauty Sleep just shutting that down immediately. And also this 3 little pigs sadly not overstudying the Tooth Fairy that I believe also got the boost just from the just played Beauty Sleep. So yeah, the Beauty Sleep at the end and being the game winning factor basically.
Yeah, so that went down to the wire, even though like a couple turns ago we were basically thinking that Kojo had no chance to get there. It ended up being pretty close game, which is not
Yeah.
common in Altered. But all right, so let's see if we have still more games going. Um, we have another game from a player in team HAT on which is like the least progress game. So we're going to watch this, I think.
Which table?
So yeah, sorry, let me. So stable. Oh, so they made some progress now. So it's going to be stable 23, I think.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, it's already over. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, so I hadn't refreshed properly. Let me try again. Let's see. Let's try to play again to look at a game that is most likely to be the last to finish. They're all on 71% now. So
Yeah.
oh, it was sorry. It was table 13. Are they finished? Yeah, Sigmar versus Stage. Okay, let's watch this.
Okay. Yeah.
So another player from team HAT. Do you know what this team stands for? I could.
Oh no, I can maybe Keelan already put that on the site on his spreadsheet. His panic altered. Can I get to
Oh,
the?
it's Panic Altered. Okay, it was
Oh,
representing Spain, playing against Tradoshi from Brazil. But it looks like they just taken a super commanding lead with an impressive 19-19-19 on the hero side. Probably going
yeah.
to close out this game.
And the Capalia isn't even one of the mass anchoring ones, but I think there's one in yeah there's one mass anchoring unique in. Oh no, it's just a dusk anchor and a on play anchor in reserve. So yeah, as Lopez, one of the better Taja players probably, and making work of Taja even without the mass anchoring uniques, and just boosting and on and anchoring single characters. And they still got an impressive board with 4 characters on each side with at least 3 stats in each region. That's
Yeah,
quite an impressive board.
you love to see it.
Yeah.
Okay, so round two is probably going to start pretty soon. Do we still have any players
We got a
playing?
shout out from Cole in chat for table 11 with a
Oh,
Lindy mirror
Lindy
on it,
versus
if it's
Lindy.
still
Okay, and
running.
that's still going. So let's jump into that.
Yeah.
Try to see if we can catch the end of it. And the challenge of Latin America, Chile versus Brazil, with team
Yeah.
after you versus Higher Sonri, a player that I don't think I've seen before. Oh, let me
Yeah.
actually, sorry, I forgot
I'm
to
also not sure.
jump into the game. So yeah, here we go. So both players tied with two advancements left.
And Lindy mirrors, I think the Lindy with more Babas Ispas is usually the favored one. And we do see a Chrysalis from the top Lindy, and that's a card that on its own can create a lot of stats together with Ispa or getting sacrificed. Or especially it's very strong together with the Lantern that we sadly don't see here. So yeah, the top Lindy still trying to find a way to match the stats from from the Maw and the Moth on the bottoms, and I think they already got enough with the Off You Go now, but not using it and instead sacrificing their jelly. I think that's just inefficient use of your resources when you can just Off You Go the Moth and still get the 1-for-1. But yeah, now it's just, does one of the Lindy players have the small step already? And if both have them, it's a win for Amrusa currently, I'd say.
Yeah, that's very possible. So they had 3 cards in hand, so possibly like they had some options there.
Looking at that Alice unique, it's a 2-mana 4/3/1 and sacrifices on play in its own expedition, and that looks like a very strong unique for me. It's a very cheap one, but has very good stats, and also you get an additional sacrifice in Lindy, which you always like. Since for me, Lindy currently still feels like you're lacking a bit of sacrifice tools. You have like 3 cards in your deck that actually do sacrifice, and if you can't find them, it feels like you don't really have the tools to generate power on the board. And yeah, therefore having additional sacrifices in uniques, definitely a good choice.
Right, and I always Henry saying GG in chat. I don't know if they think that Bruce has Bruce has said GG first, of course. So okay, so I don't know actually, like, are they conceding or are they saying like a small step? I don't know. They're also out of time, so I don't know if like they're going to be to get their turn skipped. I don't remember how those rules work.
Yeah, it's definitely possible that higher Sonri could just wait it out and maybe get a. To me, it always feels like 50-50 if the round stops after exactly 30 minutes, or if it goes to 35 minutes. And you could, in theory, as soon as you see your opponent go under 15 minutes, you could potentially just wait out and hope it's a 30-minute timeout. You'll just get a win that way. But yeah, it's definitely not guaranteed. And also, whenever Simon sees they are stalling, he's going to the tables and encourages them to play out cards, just so other players don't have to wait out for just the timer to run out.
Yeah, of course. And okay, so yeah, so Brusa ended up having the small step giant leap there. They was just saying GG proactively. And ended up taking the game. So that was our last match for round 1, and we're jumping into round 2.
I'm seeing a question in the chat to me if I'm still using that magic Varu list I brought last week, and I have played it on the weekend a bunch, and I've got some new cards for it, and I'm still experimenting with Varu. So yeah, you can probably watch out for some more Varu gameplay of mine, but yeah, currently I'm more streaming or more on the cast than playing myself. So yeah, but I'm still working on my Varu list.
Okay, excited to see that because yeah, I was a bit disappointed by the Waru changes, and
Yeah.
I would be pretty happy to see it do at least something in the current meta.
In my Varu list, I probably have one of the strongest Quetzalcoatl's that exist in the game. It's at dusk, draw 3 cards on no condition.
Oh yeah,
and when your opponent draws a card, you generate 2 tokens in its expedition. So when you sleep it on one expedition and it sticks, you're probably winning that expedition the next day because it's just so strong.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I know that some of those were like pretty broken. All right, so I kind of want to go into table 7, just to shout out one of my my countrymen Psychos. And they're playing against Agite Meltdown, so it should be hopefully a pretty interesting match.
When Meltdown on Kojo, and I think Meltdown was also on Kojo in the No Unique Championships today. And Psychos, I think I know the name from the marketplace. I've seen that there a bunch.
Yeah, I think they've been pretty active in the community. And yeah, one of the more player actives from Quebec. I had the pleasure to drive with them on 2 PAX Unplugged last year to play in some altered events. And yeah, Quebec has a pretty nice community, but this is still North America. It's still a little bit. It's when so I went back to France like on during Christmas, and I was really amazed by the amount of players playing there. I don't know how it is in Germany. I think it's probably pretty high. Also, I think all of Europe in general seems to have taken the game a lot more than at least North America has. Um,
It's interesting to me that I live in Berlin, so the capital of Germany, and we have like in Berlin itself we have like one store that has locals, and otherwise we have a store that's a bit outside or 1 hour drive outside of Berlin, and that one does have the biggest events in my area. So there's usually when they actually do advertise their events, there's like 30 people showing up, but otherwise it's usually around 10ish people. So yeah, sadly not
all right.
too many, and yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, you guys are super active in the community and doing streams, so that's already awesome. Hopefully, like that starts to build more traction for the game. All right, and so in this game we have Sigmar versus Kojo. Seeing Kojo again lead with the double Haven, and our Sigmar player being a little bit scared already. Let's see if they manage to get something going.
Sadly, the first resupply from the Haven was a mana eruption that you don't really want to play early on. And also on turn 1, the Sigmar played their Baba Yaga on first play onto the Hero Expedition instead of the Companion Expedition. Usually you're seeing the Sigmar players trying to split up the expeditions and use the strength of the recruit to make the trades for your opponent awkward. And it got a bit punished by the Isan Boshi that therefore just took a
one side for basically free
1-for-1 trade. But yeah, this turn, seeing the second Haven, the Sigmar was able to get a 2-0 lead with Ophir going that just resupplied a Sarangar.
Right. So yeah, they had to expand the teamwork training there, but at the same time, taking a 2 lead on a turn where Kojo has their Buddha is, you're probably pretty happy with this.
Yeah. And also now it's with already having a lead, you oftentimes see Sigmar players just trying to set up their permanents with the Monolith Bastion or also Grand Endeavor. So you already see the mana eruption in hand for the Kojo. So you're probably not going to play them now because it will just be an inefficient mana trade for you, and the Kojo will likely just remove it, and we see again the Baba Yaga plate onto the hero side with the token, and that opens up the Ishan Bosi. That's just a 1 mana 4 stats in the water that's winning and also blocking currently, and looks very strong in the companion side.
Yeah. Worth noting that like it wasn't really, they couldn't have really played it on the companions, the Baba Yaga on the companion side, because Isun Bushi will also super overpower it on the mono ocean biome.
Yeah.
But yeah, and they're still committing more resources to the hero side. I guess with 4 mana left from Kojo, maybe that makes a bit more sense. They're also 2 elites or 2 expedition leads, so they don't necessarily need to pressure both sides. I don't know what would be your strategy in like this situation.
Playing the Aulus Cadets or playing another card onto that hero side doesn't. Otherwise, there was a possibility for the Kojo to play Haven Warrior that would have just blocked and won on hero side. So it's definitely good to still put stats into that side. But we do see another unique Axiom Salvager that this time on play resupplies and is a 1 cost from hand. So very nice stats. And it seems like Meltdown is still trying to contest on that hero side to at least maybe block or even win. I'm not sure. And yeah, it seems like they're able to block together with that Sarangar and Fire Rabbit resupply.
Okay, so
But now,
taking
of course,
the 1
overloading
and
the
0
reserve.
on that day. Yeah, the cost of the mana eruption, which was starting to become a bit more relevant, but probably not too unhappy to get rid of it.
Yeah, the Kojo running a bit low on cards by now, but yeah, I think it's still very, very okay territory for the Kojo, with now having that five forest Serengar that will most likely go into that hero expedition, just winning and blocking again, and it's looking already good, and already also just drawing more cards with the Serengar. It's quite a nice setup, and I think it's still a very good position for the Kojo.
Okay, and now that the mana eruption is gone, Psycho's going for the monolith.
Yes, sadly not the Grand Endeavor, which would kind of be even more pressure onto the Kojo, because now you're just giving up 2 expeditions and are basically down 1, and with the Grand Endeavor you're still kind of even and forcing the Kojo to basically double advance every turn or block you to go even with the Grand Endeavor.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, we've seen more and more people play Grand Endeavor in the Siege Smart list, which is at first I didn't like it as much, but I think we've seen many times that it is pretty legit.
Yeah, and right now Meltdown's probably thinking about if there's an additional 1 cost in hand for the Sigismar, because if there is, it's always winning for the Sigismar on hero side, because the only 1 cost they are playing, well, they are also playing, no, I think the only 1 cost they are playing is Orders Trooper and Foundry Mechanic, that would be winning and also blocking on that side. So yeah, they have to commit an additional Mighty Djinn, but Mighty Djinn, of course, being one of the best cards to play when you want to get card advantage, and also just to get in reserve, because the 3 cost from reserve feels much better to play than the 4 cost, and also now you get more value out of your havens for the next turn, and it's generally just a nice setup.
Yeah, and Kojo like kind of making back this card advantage that they were lacking earlier, and also is now one expedition lead over Sigismar. So the tables has really turned around in this game.
Yeah.
Okay, and while Meldon is thinking about the what to put in mana, I will leave you for a couple minutes. I need to get something to drink because I'm getting really
Sure.
thirsty talking talking all the time.
Yeah. And now with the Monolith Bastion, of course, the tokens on the hero from the Sigismar ability getting the extra boost, and that Jack Frost just immediately exhausting the Salvager to not be played on this day. But yeah, the Mighty Djinn is still looking strong, but it is kind of vulnerable into removals. But yeah, currently the Sigismar would have to play. Yeah, the Sigismar would still have to play 2 characters to be able to teamwork training that Mighty Djinn, and there's no way for them to tiny jail them. There's still the option for another removal spell with sticky seal notes, which I don't really like to see in Sigismar lists, because I don't think it's ever really valuable. So as Kojo, you could feel quite comfortable to just play out your Mighty Djinn at this point. A bit sad for the Kojo, they didn't get any RAM tools so far in the game, so they weren't able to ramp with tiny Djinns so far, and usually having a mana lead into Sigismar does feel very good to have, and we do see an early mana eruption onto the Monolith Bastion, and remove potential boosts on things that the Sigismar wants to play. This, of course, opens up either another Jack Frost or Sabotage from hand onto the Mighty Djinn, since we also haven't seen any auto spies from the Sigmar, and there's definitely potential for that to happen right here, and that could be very painful for the Kojo just losing out on those boosts from reserve.
So interesting that the display on the mana side is maybe a little bit bugged with his 5 to 6. I think that's correct. They should still have 5 mana after the mana eruption.
Yeah.
Unless they chose to discard. No, so you can't, on BG, you can choose to discard an unexhausted mana orb, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and we do see the sabotage getting rid of the mighty gem that you were just talking about.
Yeah, so this looks now like a very hard turn for the Kojo to come back. I'm not sure if they are what they could have to either win on hero or companion expedition, with the reserve just overstating potentially anything. But yeah, that header looks like a nice start with the 4 stats in mountain that they are currently contesting, and also the 3 stats on water that the Sigmar needs. So potentially just the Baba Yaga currently is blocking on that companion side, but the Kojo still having 2 mana left and potentially playing a card. And also, of course, that header has the at dusk effect of drawing a card, which is really nice to have and to get more card advantage.
Yeah, so let's see what Psychos decides to do. If he wants to try and contest this companion side, or if he lets it go. I'm assuming he's going to try and contest it. He has maybe a little bit more cards, even though this Hatter is going to draw a card. Anyway, like the 2 cards in reserve would have to be cleaned up at the end of the turn, so it's presumably pretty free to try to play one of them, at least to force Meltdown to play something else. Oh, and they go for the teamwork training here.
Yeah, that's very strong, because it's unlikely for 2 mana that the Kojo has another card that can beat the 3 stats on water that they currently have, or at least they would have. Oh, actually, yeah, the Sprout's Pathfinder is just the perfect card for this situation, and is winning that companion side.
Yeah, and Meltdown played it really quickly. Also,
Yeah,
letting
probably
you think
already
like,
anticipating.
did they already think about it? Like that's. I mean, presumably they were. That was their plan all along.
Also, that teamwork training is losing a card for the Sigmar, but also basically losing a card for the Kojo, since they don't get the at dusk draw. So even though they are losing 2 cards from reserve now, I think it's still a solid play to make if you're not expecting a Pathfinder to be played afterwards, which I also wasn't thinking about.
Right. Yeah. Pretty hard to see. And so interesting now also, like the Kojo player decided not to use the support ability from the Hatter, which admittedly is a little bit weak compared to the rest of the card, but means they will have to clean something up.
Yeah, the support ability could have been used, but I think just getting that header out again with the stats and also with the draw is
And also
probably
draws
more
another
valuable
card.
than
Right. So in the long run, like
the
yes,
support.
they kind of played for the long run, which
Yeah,
which makes sense.
and they're still had 1 expedition, so in a nice position. Still, that Jack Frost being around in the reserve for the Sigmar, so there's a potential another. So there will most likely be another exhaust this turn. So I would expect to see a first play of a Salvager this turn, just to have 2 more cards that you could potentially play, and one of them will get exhausted, but you therefore still have another card you could play from reserve, and you'd obviously hope for resupplying another spell, and not like we've seen the last game, only spells and havens. So yeah, can only hope for the resupplies.
Yeah, I think the debating between this and the Hatter probably.
I would Yeah, probably. I myself would always go for the Salvager just because it opens up two cards to still be in reserve and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, makes
Yeah.
the decision for what to exhaust with the Jack Frost harder. But
That's
yeah,
true.
maybe
Yeah.
they're also calculating to play something from hand. But we actually do see the header be played first. That's surprising to me.
Yeah, we'll see how Psycho's responds. Yeah, maybe trying to goad him into not Jack Frosting that that Salvager is maybe the hope. I don't know. There's maybe some mind tricks going on there.
Yeah, I'd expect to see an immediate answer on exhausting that Salvager, but it doesn't seem like an immediate play so far. And also interestingly, I think Meltdown de-ramped last turn with the use of a mana eruption. I thought
Yeah,
he
right.
just didn't mana this turn, but yeah, of course, the mana eruption being played last turn, they're down 1 mana, and yeah, we do see that Jack Frost to exhaust the Salvager, but a basically counter sabotage onto the Baba Yaga is immediately going out. And the Sigmar is now playing with 2 cards from hand and has to somehow beat that header on hero side and the 2 stats advantage on the companion side.
Okay,
Oh,
so
we
Psycho's
might
yet tying
see
it up. Yeah.
another. The attorney for me opens is you pretty much at this point always want to draw with your attorney, and it looks like to me that there could potentially be another teamwork training to off you go the header again and win on hero side and draw with your attorney. But
Yeah, that would be a pretty strong
having
play. They
another,
have already played 2 of them though, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
having the third one isn't too likely, and yeah, we do see the trooper, and therefore they are not able to draw a card this turn with the attorney.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I don't know if you're happy or not with that outcome as a Kojo player. I guess you can't be too sad from being adjacent now and putting a ton of pressure on Sigismar, especially Sigismar playing first. Like we'll have to somewhat choose sides.
I think as Kojo, you're pretty fine with this. You still have your salvage in reserve to get the resupply and get hopefully another character in reserve. And Sigismar being limited to 4 plays only, and 2 of them doesn't feel too threatening. So you should feel comfortable to at least win 1 expedition.
Right. Yeah, especially with the double haven. I guess the only thing you would be maybe a bit scared of would be some kind of sabotage, but with
Yeah,
the
seeing the
trooper
first play
being played
trooper.
first, I think you're omega chilling now.
Yeah.
While Kalonga in the chat is cheering for Kojo, saying, "Let's go,
Yeah.
Kojo!"
Also, Kilan guy also loves the Solvager uniques. I think he has also a very good one that's a drawing when it leaves the expedition, and yeah, think he was only playing Solvager uniques when he was playing Kojo last set, but I'm not too sure.
Right, yeah, and Psycho's saying GG. While Meldon is asking what's in the Sigismar hand. Psycho's saying I have nothing. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, with the Tiny Jin being resupplied there, that would be even though like Meltdown isn't in any mountain biome, just from the power of the heaven, it would be already pretty strong.
Yeah,
So it looks like Psycho's on the table to close it out there.
it's always fun. It's always funny to me when players are chatting in not in their main language, and I can't understand them too well. But yeah, having someone that can translate that is definitely very nice.
Yeah, I'm
I
guessing you
also
can. I'm guessing you can kind of make up what they're saying based on what happened in the game and the card names, like they are saying English
Yeah.
card names. But yeah, basically, Psycho saying that the second mana eruption kind of sealed the deal. Um, which yeah, it was kind of a big investment from Psycho's side.
Oh, and
Right.
there's a card
And
that
that
I like to
sticky note.
flame in Sigismar lists.
Right.
I think Sticky Seal Notes is never really a good card. In this matchup, it can only hit, I think, the Mighty Djinns, and it's for me just a useless card in most matchups. You're the happiest if you hit a Sigismar with that, and I think just keeping Sticky Seal Notes in your opening hand against a Sigismar is bad because you're losing flexibility in other plays, and you'd always have to draw it on the turn your opponent wants to play the Bastion. Otherwise, you're losing flexibility, and I don't think it's a good card. So yeah, I really hope that people cut it from their list because it's also bad into my Varu list.
All right. What do we have left? We have your teammate Freeloader playing against
Yeah, we
Distract,
can.
and then the other match in progress is White Sea versus Fronde or Fronde. I don't know how to say that.
We can watch some freeloader. I'd expect either Kojo or
Okay.
Trace be played.
Yeah, it's Trace versus Fan, so that should be pretty interesting.
Oh
Let's
yeah.
jump into that. So a lot of progress already and pretty complex board state. There's a bunch of uniques. I'll try to hover over them, starting with the Lyra Chronicler. When a card leaves your reserve during the afternoon, target character gains 1 boost. I'm guessing you can do some shenanigans there. We see,
Yeah.
so yeah, we see them like resupplying with this Gibil here and like going to trigger their Lyra Chronicler over and over again.
What's a bit sad that there's no
Izmir
no
Stargazer
more.
being gigantic. For every time you do that, you get 1 boost for each card in your reserve.
Actually, this is already winning. Yeah.
Um,
I'm surprised to see this list right now. To see the Killan Cylinder in the traced list. I know it's in his list, but I'm surprised that he actually already shows it on the tournament. And yeah, this Kojo list that definitely tries to this trace list definitely tries to cycle through your deck and use these uniques that we just saw to gain a bunch of boosts
yeah,
on your characters, and yeah, look very strong that turn. And I would be sure to see the uniques again soon, just because of all the support abilities that allow you to resupply. And yeah, it's just a strong, it's just strong to get all your uniques again and again.
right. Yeah, I haven't really been so to be frank. Like I haven't played as much of the game as I used to, but since Trial by Frost came out, like I started to be on the opinion that those free resupply abilities were going to be eventually like super broken.
Yeah,
Just being able to do stuff for no mana is kind of breaking like one of the main axis of TCGs. So yeah, I think this was like kind of a pretty interesting design decision to print them as is, and I'm really
yeah,
wondering what it's going to happen in the future. I don't know if you have any opinion on that.
yeah. This looks sometimes this looks very unbeatable if your opponent is basically just after you every turn with frozen delivery and just resupplying into their uniques over and over again. So you can't really. So your only chance against these uniques is to remove them somehow. But if they're just after you've removed them and they still have the mana to play it again, they will likely just be able to cycle into their uniques again and play them that way. So it really feels like it doesn't matter what you do into these uniques sometimes. And also, I think there are a lot stronger uniques. I, I think last week or one of the prior weeks we've seen someone that actually had a card that read whenever a card leaves your reserve, create a brass bug in target expedition,
Mm-hmm.
and that one is definitely the premium unique in this type of
Right.
deck. Just creating an absurd board state with so many characters or so many brass bugs in play.
Yeah, and being really hard to interact with. Um, yeah, I mean, even like sometimes when you're playing, I mean, I know that like that's not necessarily considered one of the top decks, but sometimes like you're also just playing against the Syra deck and like suddenly they have like uh three echo effects, three support effects that just create like 4/4 tokens, and and you're like, what is this thing?
Yeah,
But yeah, just being able to like, I think especially like the one that resupply or retrigger like the Ouroboros eventually are going to maybe end up being a
it's a
bit problematic, but
very sad
we'll see.
resupply.
Yeah.
Getting 2 foundry mechanics on the resupply, and yeah, Twinkle Twinkle also be a card that's very strong into this deck, or just sleeping that Capalia. That's so it's not being able to be played again this turn. And I think this list doesn't focus too much on support abilities actually, and more on characters that resupply with good bodies like this Frankenstein. And yeah, so it's not the complete cycle list, but yeah, a list that's more based on characters,
A
but
bit
can
more hype.
still cycle a lot through your characters.
All right. And yeah, I mean, in terms of expedition, it's pretty close, right? Because Flynn player has like this big Anansi and like managed to get a big companion side going.
Yeah,
But they are still
it's
like
more,
one expedition behind, while Trace being adjacent means they only need to win on one side, which they currently do with this Frankenstein. And I don't really see how how the fan player is going to contest that. Because
yeah.
yeah, they can play the Anansi, but oh, I guess it's going to break. Yeah, that's their Icebound Taiga and make a dragon.
Yeah, and I
Is
really
that
like
going to
the
be good
usage.
enough? Probably not, right?
n-
Yeah.
No, I really like the usage of the um, from reserve ability, or from the Frankenstein ability, to not resupply with the Ouroboros, but actually get the boost from the Kilon cylinder to if the draw from the traceability wouldn't have been good, you could have just used the Kilon cylinder, the exhaust ability to boost the Frankenstein again, and then play the Foundry Armadura to outstat that dragon and still win that way. So
Right.
yeah,
So very heads up,
but he
like
resupplied, yeah,
and
but he resupplied another Frankenstein, so
yeah, that
everything
was the
went
easy mode, but they
well.
were really heads up
Yeah,
and they didn't even have to. Yeah, interesting. And also they knew that like the character couldn't be played on the left side because that biome wasn't in forest. So yeah, really well played from Freeloader. So
yeah.
congrats to them. And saying in the chat, oh yeah, that those unique are
Mm.
definitely bad, and also people don't need to try them.
No,
It's
I,
just
I, I think that the card is bad is more meant on the Kilon cylinder,
on the
since it's
calendar.
kind of
Okay, okay.
special. I think.
I thought he was talking about the uniques and trying to convince us that they are bad and people shouldn't play them, which I'm sure is going to be a strategy at some point in this game.
Mm.
All right.
Yeah. Also,
So,
I
how are we
think it
doing on
was Cladus that put, what was it? Ebenezer Scrooge in his Sigismar list, and yeah, that then went to on Blue's interview and said, and explained a bit why he played that card in this deck and didn't actually think it was a good card in the deck.
Okay, interesting.
That was also very funny.
Um, cool. Are you playing it in your rogue list, by the way? I was because I think that's maybe one of the
Uh,
more exciting one.
which card?
Well, I thought you were talking about Ebenezer Scrooge,
Oh
the
yeah, yeah.
one that
No,
like
no.
increases.
I'm not using that. No, I recently found a Ebenezer Scrooge unique that was also a token generator, and wanted to try that one out. But yeah, didn't really feel worth it in a slot. So I'm currently leaning more towards different uniques. So I'm mostly looking for bureaucrats that are 5 cost or higher and have some really nice effects. I really want to test out uniques that are bureaucrats that have the Atlas effect, so that your tokens are gigantic. And
Interesting.
I would prefer that on a Quetz probably, because the Quetz is one of the few bureaucrats that is still able to generate tokens. So yeah, you actually get value out of that. but round
Okay.
3 already started.
Yeah, round 3 starting. Is there a table that you want to jump into?
Oh, I see table 11 case now, a German player against Shingo.
Okay.
And
This.
case notes usually on Fen, so I think that's also a very, very fun hero to watch.
Okay, Fan versus Lindy. Let's see what that.
Oh, that's interesting.
And we missed the first turn, but looks like Fan took it 1-0.
Yeah. And I think this matchup, so Fen definitely wants to play with the Incasters, which it seems like they resupplied off their Fen ability or put into reserve with Sleight of Hand. I'm not too sure how it got there, but Fen is a hero that likes to play for card advantage and also giving the opponent's characters fleeting. And Lindy is one of the heroes that doesn't care too much about getting fleetings onto their characters, since they can then just sacrifice them and don't really care about. They would have lost that character anyway if they sacrificed it, so they get kind of more value out of the sacrifice.
Right. And you could argue even for the jellyfish, like you're pretty happy to draw a card rather than getting it back to reserve.
Yeah. And we do see another block on that Maw that was just boosted up by the Gift of Self, and another advance or single advance for the Fen to be up 2 expeditions by now, which is definitely a good thing in this matchup, or in pretty much any matchup you're playing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even if there are some decks that we think are having more like late game power, yeah, 2-0 is like pretty huge head start.
And
Yeah, who do you like, by the way, in the end game here? Because I know Fen like is really good at like accruing small card advantage, and usually like is a powerhouse in the late game. At the same time, like Lindy Way being maybe a little bit more of a combo deck and needing some engine to be set up before it can fully take advantage of their card. Like, who do you think has the advantage in the late game here?
I'd say the Lindy probably has the advantage in the late game. I've played this matchup Lindy into Fen 3 times on Monday A.W.O.L, and won it two out of the 3 times, and also one of the matchup was actually against Case on his Fen. So yeah, and I think that Lindy just has the advantage because they are especially with the 2 Eastbus setup, that they are able to play much slower than the Fen, and therefore get an advantage that way. And if there's no 1-cost character right now for the Lindy in hand, they're actually just losing another expedition this turn. They're probably going down another expedition this turn if Mr. Snowman is played.
Right, because even like yeah, I guess yeah, I don't know. Even with the so if Case No plays anything on the companion side with 1 mana, like what is Lindy Way contesting really?
Yeah, there's basically 1 character like Jellyfish. then you're sacking it to get a Maw, and yeah, the
Right.
mountain from the Snowman are already outstanding that.
So you get a 2/2. So yeah, I guess like playing the Snowman here is saying like I don't want to tie. I want to win it for sure.
Yeah.
Even if you do even if you do win on your or at least also advance on the companion. Like they're happy to do a 2-1 versus like a
Exactly.
1-4-0.
And that's
Oh,
interesting.
and that's even like
The-
sacrificing the.
yeah,
Okay,
that's
interesting.
just wasting your materials.
Well,
But yeah,
I mean,
okay.
sacrificing it would get it into discard rather than reserve, but
Yeah,
it's kind of
but
suspicious
just
that they
playing it,
would
and
want.
they're just playing it and therefore not getting anything out of it is for me pretty much
Right.
wasting a card. But yeah, definitely they could have sacrificed it here to boost up the Maw and still get 1 expedition. I think that would have been a better play than just playing it out and get nothing out of it.
I agree, it's really weird, yeah. Also knowing that they are getting something sabotage.
Oh, Okay, so I didn't expect it to get immediately played for the supportability. Well, not getting use out of the supportability. I'm really confused what's going on at this point. But yeah,
Yeah.
sadly, how the supportability reads, it's not that the next spell you play this afternoon, that the next spell you play this afternoon gets discounted, but the next spell you play this turn. So the card immediately after the disciple would have needed to be the spell to get discounted. So therefore, they are not getting the discount on the disciple.
Right.
And again, that MacBang with the unplay discard ability, sabotage ability looks very nice, and I think that they're just able to. Oh no, they didn't get. Oh, I just saw the disciple wasn't used as supportability. It was sabotaged by the MacBang. I
Right.
always
Yeah. Exactly.
I forget that this
Okay.
MacBang is a sabotage. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes more sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking like Esno was really fearful of the supportability here because the Stages Disciple wasn't sacrificed last turn. So maybe they thought like,
Yeah.
okay, Shingo really wants to do something with it, and so they decided to deny it anyway, even if we don't necessarily know what was in the
That
box
is
there.
one of the
Okay,
looked
and
for leads basically.
easy talk.
That's a card that I know a bunch of people are looking for, the 5-mana Easy Tux, and this one especially especially nice for Lindy with an unplay sacrifice to draw a card. It's a very looking nice. It's looking very nice.
Right,
That's
yeah,
a
I'm
really
doing a
nice Easy
pretty
Tux.
good job this turn, but like, even though Lindy is still like very far behind in this game, or it feels like so, at least like it's giving them a reprieve for
Yeah.
a turn. Being able to advance on their side and can completely negate the two characters that were played on the
Yeah.
hero side by Fan. Okay, and mobile libraries. That's a card that's interesting to me. In Lindy, where you typically don't have a lot of defenders, but I'm guessing like just getting a 1/1 for one.
And this it's also a card that you can sacrifice twice. I think that's the main reason it's used.
Yeah. Oh, what do you mean? Oh, you can sacrifice a permanent, you mean?
No, you can't sacrifice the permanent, but you're sacrificing the character.
The
And
token, you're right, yeah.
so as soon as you're winning on that side, you get the mobile armory back into your reserve, and therefore can create a second token that you can sacrifice again. So yeah, therefore it's kind of like a jellyfish, but it's still worse than a jellyfish. But since you can immediately play your jellyfish after it's sacrificed again.
Right.
But yes, just still getting two potential sacrifices out of a card is still pretty good for a rare slot in Lindy, I'd say.
Yeah.
Here the Lindy is actually setting up to win on the hero side, on the companion expedition, and the Fen now realized that there won't be an easy talk played this turn, and therefore they committed onto the hero side. And afterwards, the Lindy played a jellyfish, which to me seems a bit like there's potentially a Moth Lantern coming now that would put 4 stats total into that hero side with a sacrifice onto Maw and the sacrifice onto the jellyfish.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, it's interesting how like flexible Lindy is in this
Yeah.
regard, and that's also what makes the deck like pretty hard to pilot and understand. But it's really good. It's really cool that we have like decks like this that have pretty intricate lines of play.
Yeah. Also, I've seen a bunch of fans that do a bunch of fans just use their cloth cocoons when they had to remove the Baba's Isbas. I think this would also be a very fine play here to remove potential stats from a Moth Lantern play, but we do see a Aloy play from hand to get anchored, and immediately the off you go to hit it and not get the value for next turn out of the alloy.
Yeah, and a
that
lot of
alloy
cards
would
to
have been
clean
an,
up from Fen, yeah.
and the alloy would have been a perfect expedition on that single water expedition.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, lots of cards to clean up from both sides.
Yeah.
So yeah, interesting. I'm not sure really who's coming up ahead. I think like, well, obviously Fen still has a ton of a huge lead in terms of expeditions, so they have to be
Yeah.
the favorite here.
And I think Kaysen was also running a single copy of Small Step Giant Leap, but I'm not too sure. Maybe I can just get the deck lists from the game. I should maybe just do that, so I know what is possible.
Ooh, and Fen is playing the Joyride. That's
Oh,
it's a card I hadn't
that
seen
is,
yet, but I really dig it.
I think it's also very good together with magical training when you don't want to play it again, and therefore just can have basically another either after you or just boosting up your characters. I really like that addition to the deck.
Okay, yeah, and Fen here deciding to expand the off you go on the Moonlight Jellyfish, which to me is a little bit surprising, but I'm guessing like they understand the power of having some sacrifice fodder.
Yeah.
Um, with Lindy Way would be able here to just after you with a base badge or card. Lindy Way on very few cards, so denying them this card advantage probably makes a lot of sense.
And the Lindy already being below 5 mana, so that Easy Talk isn't an option to be played this turn, and doesn't seem like that they are able to get a lot of stats on that, even on that hero side, on that companion side, with probably no more sacrifices to benefit with more moths. And yeah, looking at the list from Case Note, there's a single small step in the deck.
Okay, so yeah, could be a possibility. Even though, like, I mean, they are so far in advance here that I don't even really know that they need it. Yeah.
I also see there's a unique Baku for the Lindy that's on play. It's making your opponent discard 2 cards from their hand. So a very scary card.
Yeah. Is that a 5 mana one?
Yeah, it's 5 mana and 4 mana.
Yeah.
That looks very scary.
It's pretty scary, but looks like they didn't find it this game.
Yeah. And also Baku really depends on the matchup and the hero that you're playing against. Sometimes when your opponent just has way too many cards, they don't care too much about a Baku coming down.
Okay, and
And
just,
there we
just
see
a regular
a 4
one.
mana Baku.
Yeah. This one's probably not going to be good enough here.
Just the Joyride already is enough to get the win on that companion expedition. And yeah, I think I've seen a few fans that do run Studious Disciple, but here right now it's not available for Case now, which would have been with 1 mana left the only card that could have won that hero side as well.
Yeah, and close that on that turn. But yeah, I mean, Fen adjacent while Lindy is missing 4 is like, yeah, it's going to be.
Yeah.
I usually say like it's not over until it's over, but I have a really hard time seeing this Lindy way doing anything in this game.
Yeah. They can now at least stall a while to play the Easy Talk, but seeing that Moth the Lantern being on heroes on companion side, you probably already expect them to stack up on the companion side. And yeah, I think that's exactly what we'll see now. So any commitment to the hero side will probably just end up to nothing. But at least you're getting out that easy talk and basically giving up a single expedition while still being head to head with your markers and still in a very good position.
Yeah, and this Twinkle Twinkle in the reserve from Fen also putting a ton of pressure on Lindy, right?
Yeah,
because like
it's against moths. It's not too much pressure because there are just too many bodies. But when your moth lantern is on the hero expedition, it's a huge threat into more because well you're basically having a single threat on companion expedition then and well that's really easy to remove most of the times.
yeah. Okay,
We
and
do actually see more commitment onto that hero side.
yeah. Which okay, and now Baku's being sent. So okay, so they still have 5 mana to play the easy talk on one side, but going to be blocking like whatever side it's not played on. And I'm a
Yeah,
little worried about. So I think they basically have to play it on the companion side, otherwise Twinkle Twinkle will get them, right.
yeah. I think also maybe Kaisner was playing for a potential cloth cocoon, but yes, just playing into that easy talk. I'm a bit surprised to see that, but yeah. Now has to discard 3 cards from reserve. Oh yeah, actually he can sleep one of his Anansis for the next turn.
Oh, it chooses to sleep the Martingale. That's really weird.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, they want
Okay.
to replay the Anansi's maybe somewhere else because neither of them is
Yeah,
fleeting.
yeah,
But it's
really not sure, but
yeah.
yeah. I really would have expected to sleep one of the Anansis, but yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Let's see if this turns out all right. Maybe they're thinking that they can make the NNC bigger, but it's going to be kind of hard still.
I haven't watched read the chat in a while, but I see Freeloader mentioning that he already won a tournament by going 5-1 because at the end of it all there was no undefeated player and Freeloader won that way. And Simon seems like he also has won a game by going 5-1.
Yeah, it's possible. So the ones on Wednesday usually have a little bit less players, and I think we're not guaranteed to have a 6-0, even though most of the
Yeah.
times we still have one.
I think at this point it can already be very hard for the fan to find a way to win the game because they used a lot of their cards to. Well, yeah, they spent a lot of their cards last turn already, and the fan at the Lindy with 2 Eastbus and 4 cards available has a lot of tools to stall and just play slower than the fan. And
Yeah, I
interestingly,
mean,
we
just be
see
more
a
reactive.
Moth
Yeah.
Lantern be played even without a character before, so they don't get the value out of the sacrifice, but obviously having the Eastbus in play to get potential sacrifices that way. And we still have 2 Anansis, I think, available to the fan. We played out this turn.
Hmm. Yeah, so Anansi in their hand, is that what you were saying?
Yeah, I think
Because the
there's one
Athar was
Anansi that just
discarded.
got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's being pretty small though is the issue, right?
Yeah, just a 2/2. And now the Lindy has to have characters in hand that will also immediately get sacrificed with the Eastbus to get enough stats to win on that companion side.
Yeah.
And I think with
yeah, pretty awkwardly, like the martingale that was slept is contributes 0 to the hero
yeah,
expeditions ocean biome. So that was a really weird play to sleep the martingale there.
yeah. There right now has to be 2 characters in hand for the Lindy or 1 jellyfish to get 2 sacrifices out of your Isbars. But that would be enough to win out on that companion expedition. And yeah, that jellyfish just should be enough together with the mother lanterns.
Yeah, they have to remember to do the Ma, which they do obviously. Yeah, because
Yeah,
now like every sacrifice contributes 4 stats, right?
exactly. Yeah,
And so they're going to end up at 888. They could even all right, and they also have the mustard set. So they're going to tour this and get
yeah,
a little bit closer. And so one of the issues fan like in the late game is that they are kind of forced to put a card down in mana, even though
yeah,
they do get the extra resupply out of it. Technically, like you could say that they get half a card less than the
yeah.
opponent, assuming like no one cares about mana, which isn't really true. Like obviously, even in the late game, you do care about it, but it's not necessarily as much of a strong advantage as it is maybe in the mid game. I have to assume the martingale goes to discard here, which it does. And so Lindy was going to be starting this, but at the same time with 2 Baba's Bow. Again, as you said, like probably has a lot of options to stall out and still be reactive, even
Yeah.
because they are first player.
This is looking harder and harder for the Finn if they don't get to draw a small step. And I think there's potential that the Lindy could just 2-0 again this day and win already.
That would be super interesting because we had kind of we kind of wrote them off 2 turns ago,
Yeah,
and yeah, as Freeloader is saying, the Lindy is popping.
that's true. And the usage of the Moth Lantern seems so interesting to me that they just play it first and afterwards they are playing the characters to sacrifice with the Espas. I haven't thought about that pattern myself yet, and I'm a bit curious why they put the lantern onto companion side first, but yeah, they do have a second one, and now they can start to create a bunch of moths again and hope that the fan can't outstep them. And it seems like it seems more likely
Ooh,
to that
that,
the
that
fan
could
could
be
outstep on.
pretty nice here.
Oh,
Removing one resource
discarding,
from Fen.
yeah, and discarding that artery definitely very painful because it is a very good stats on that hero side and could have potentially just won the game. And now that seems like it's not an option anymore. Oh.
Right, but does Lindy Way like still need something to? Oh no, they have the they have the mobile armory to make a token and start the sacrifice chain.
Yeah. So they're not winning this
It's
turn if they don't have another character in hand, but they do block that
third.
Anansi. And
Okay, yeah, because they're not able to push on the company. Well, they have to block on the company in child rather, and so they have to also sacrifice this Baku is what I'm getting
yeah,
from this. Okay.
it, yeah,
Obviously, you made this math a lot quicker than I did because you're a lot more used to the deck, but I think I got there. So yeah, they had to do this in order not to lose on the companion side. Um, I guess they could have pushed the game to tiebreak, but they probably don't want to do that.
yeah. I think the Lindy is favored in a tiebreaker since the Moth Lanterns just get so many stats. But actually, 2 Moth Lanterns are already in the discard, so not
Right.
too many potential stats. And yeah, Fen just hopes to draw or resupply the small step, and it seems like they didn't get it, so just already passing the turn. And
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
Lindy taking this one, even though
Okay.
it looked
Interesting. Yeah.
very promising for the Fen.
They really clawed back from like a
Yeah,
four region. Yeah, being backed for region a few turns ago. Yeah, pretty impressive from the Lindy Way side. So congrats to them. Do we have any other games interesting to watch in the third step. I think almost all of them are finished. There's only one. Our last table, table 27, is still going.
Okay, yeah.
Let's
I'll jump
see.
to that.
Let's see what they look like. Okay, yeah, I think they're probably on close to their last turn, but we're gonna take a look anyway.
Oh, Afanas against Sigmar this time
Yeah,
around.
kind of a classic matchup. So
I'd say this one probably isn't too classic. We see the Sigmar with a Bountiful Meadow in play and a John Dark in reserve, just like
okay.
a common Trooper. I'd say the Trooper is still the most common card you see in Sigmar, but you usually see the rare version because its stats are for the cost are just pretty strong. And
Right.
yeah, the other two cards.
Yeah, a little bit
We see
suspicious, you
this
could say.
afterwards, but yeah. But yes, some fun coach
Ooh,
a Robin Hood and
Robin
Sigismund
Hood.
that looks like a Varulus to me, but sadly Robin Hood not doing a lot anymore. And
I mean, it does increase the cost
right
of
now,
this Kajigurian mage.
yeah,
So
it's
by
taxing the
one,
mage
so
now.
yeah. So Afanas
Yeah,
only has 8 mana to do things like.
yeah. a it seems like a fun Sigismund list, but maybe not the best optimized yet. But still very cool to see.
I don't know if you've seen this or remember this, but in season 1 we had someone who plays twice, I think, at 4 and 2, using
Okay.
the starter like Sigismar deck, and
Yeah.
that was kind of hilarious to me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the Sigma starter was also the strongest rule, right?
Oh yeah, by far. But it was still a starter deck, which was kind of impressive,
Yeah,
and but also yeah, kind of a testament to just the raw power of Sigismar.
do you know if they were playing it because they didn't have any other cards, or because they wanted to try to win with it?
I don't know. I think it was some Latin American player.
Okay. Yeah.
So it could have been either. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Keelan in chat agreeing to that Siggy hero ability is just busted. And therefore the Siggy starter just got 4 and 2s.
Yeah.
I've also recently played a tournament where I played. I think it wasn't a starter Sigismar, but it definitely was a no unique Sigismar, and they also were on fairly high tables. So yeah, but I think Sigismar is still one of the heroes that you can play without uniques and do quite well.
Yeah, I mean it's good to have like really to have also strong option for yeah, starting players, like so they don't have to invest in a completely a deck made of completely like cards that they have to fully find in boosters, or like having rares that are so strong that they are really hard to find. Like that's one of the things that I enjoy about Altered is overall I find the games is relatively affordable. Like if you don't, especially to compete in the local scene, so that's
Yeah,
nice.
that's for sure.
Obviously,
To
like when we
compete and
start talking about the big uniques, like it's maybe another story, but
yeah,
at the local level, like those are definitely not needed.
and also there's definitely a huge difference between playing locally and playing online events. When you're looking at the top tables and all of the players are most likely having 2,000 games plus and are all very skilled at the
Yeah,
game. And
absolutely.
when you're then just looking at your average local plays, or at least when you're looking at your local plays that are not based in France, I'd imagine that's just much weaker
Yeah.
competition than in all of these online events.
Yeah, when I was in France and I tried to like go to the weekly like local event, so like two things like jump out to me. The first one is like I had to book it in advance because it was full, and so they almost had a waiting list. Like I managed to get in because some people canceled and left some open spots, and I managed to sneak one.
That Sigmar just won the game
Oh,
due to time. That's
sorry.
that's
Oh,
so
it's a
funny to
time.
me.
Okay, yeah, that's a bit sad. It was the last match, so it would have.
Robin Hood taking a win, just taxing that Caligiran to not be
Like,
played
yeah.
that day. That's very funny to me.
And yeah, and so the other thing at like this local event is like there are a couple of people from team SBTFU from Toulouse who are showing up in their jersey and stuff. And I was like, whoa, what is this thing? On like a
That's crazy, yeah.
on a Friday evening. But it was really funny, and they were like super friendly. Shout out to the community from Toulouse who was like super cool to play with. They even gave me like those. They made this little like first player tokens made out of the um, the Occitan cross, which is like the banner for the city, and it was really cool. I got my little souvenir from
Yeah,
that game
that's
start.
cool.
All right, so round 4 starting now. Any
Oh,
game you want to
I'm
see?
seeing Cole on table 18. Maybe you want to watch that. Otherwise, I can also look through other games.
I have him on table 11. Is that what
Oh,
you're saying? Kellen guy or
no, Cole Rabi.
oh, sorry, Kohlrabi. Okay. Oh yeah, let's
You,
give him
you,
a. I mean,
you see some plans and play
oh, he's
Augustus.
not even playing Afanas. Okay.
Oh yeah. I usually
Oh, he's on
know
the Teja. He's on the Teja train today. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I have to. We have to support him.
Yeah.
I was a bit sad when he jumped into the Afanas bandwagon, but
Oh
I
yeah.
kind of gave him some words about how I felt about that. But looks like he
Look, he-
looks like he went back
none,
to sanity and is now on Teja again, which I know is
none, none.
the peak of his heart. So yeah, let's see how he does. And Fen like not taking any gloves off, starting with the Unix on the first turn. What does it do?
Yeah.
Robust
Uh,
Trickster
yes.
rolls a die on a 4+ against, so that's basically the normal one.
Yeah. It's from hand.
Except
It's a
yeah,
trickster, and from reserve, it's a croupier ability.
interesting. So
That's
yeah,
quite nice.
4+ draw card, 1/3 display. Yeah, pretty nice, and also like 2/1/1 for 2. So like even if the ability is the normal one, it can get up to a 4/3/3 for 2 mana on from hand, uh, which is definitely pretty big.
Yeah. Oh, and we see a nice play of the Persephone into Chiron to boost up the Persephone to get a double advantage for Cole here. And also in chat, I want to mention that Keelan was thanking for not cursing his games and not spectating him yet. So I can't
Right.
promise that we won't watch any of your games, but cursing you definitely sounds fun to me.
Yeah, we will have to catch him on the late round to make sure he doesn't get the 6-0.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, and I'm curious, like actually, how did the first day go? Because we're seeing no card in discard, but also no cards at fleeting.
The first day was just a tiny gin play by
And so it went
Cole,
into
so he ran
mana.
yeah.
Interesting.
But I think he didn't mana on turn 2, so
And then
he
it skipped.
already
Okay,
lost
so
that.
that's why I'm really confused. Okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Okay,
Oh no!
thank you for
Oh no!
clarifying that.
No. I think he ramped, but the fan also ramped a mighty gin. That's I think what happened.
Yeah, I think that would make sense. All right, so both player 1 mana ahead.
Yeah.
Which kind of nullifies us, but Deja took a 2 lead though, so
And
pretty good spot.
this
Opening
fan
with
list
the
is
CLE.
looking very interesting, running the mighty gin and also here a rarely seen card in the Asmodeus. That's anchoring itself or getting a bunch of boosts.
Right, for the cheap cost of 6 mana, which I mean they could play now. Like that's I
Yeah.
shouldn't. It's an
So
arrow
we're right now
ability, so yeah, they
trading conditions.
could have a huge like yeah. And then Yeti, which something I haven't seen a lot. So I don't know if it's popular now in Deja list. I haven't seen play yet. So it's going to accrue more boost for the future characters played.
Yeah,
Okay.
when I saw Yeti get released, I thought it will be a very strong card for Taja, but it turns out it's just very high stats, and your uniques are mostly, and I think also players don't like the. For myself, I would value the steep from hand, but it seems like mostly it's not seen play just because it's so expensive to play.
Right.
Also, especially from reserve with a 4 cost, it feels very tough to play.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
But now going into the next day, the Asmodeus is contesting with a Yeti that's almost equal on stats already. So yeah, it's I really don't know what to expect from either of these decks. It seems like both are playing non-standard lists, so that's definitely always the most fun to watch. Definitely not the most competitive, but still a lot of fun to watch at least.
Right. Yeah, and Cole teasing us a little bit in chat saying, I can say you will never see another Teja list like this. So,
yeah, that's probably true.
I don't know if it means like he's never going to play it again because it's too bad, uh, or if it's because he has more tech and no one has caught up to this level yet.
Yeah, we don't know. I'm also curious if there are potentially Hydrocanus in the Taja list. Usually seeing a tiny gen means that there's also Taja Canas or maybe Demeters. I think I've seen Cole on Demeters before, so I could imagine that being in the list. But I'm really not sure.
Yeah. Interesting that they chose not to play on the Yeti side, so not really taking advantage of the boost yet, but at the same time, like maybe they want to split their resource a little bit too.
Yeah.
They still have 5 mana to work with, which is plenty, except only 1 card.
Yeah, and I really don't know what potential place to commentate here. But yeah, we do see the Twinkle Twinkle onto the Jack Frost, so there's no potential of blocking on that expedition. I think there's still room to just win still on the companion side because you're on a water stat that is currently not contested. But no, he's playing the Persephone instead and is therefore tying that expedition. Interesting.
Oh, but okay, Yeti, sorry. Yeah, I missed that. Yeti actually boosts everything, not just characters in his own expedition. Okay, so yeah, so the Persephone is contesting the Mighty Chin there.
Yeah. I think the Persephone onto hero side potentially just be better to win on that side and potentially play any other character to get one stat in water onto companion side. But opting for different play, and I'm curious to see what's the follow-up to that.
And Korab is suggesting some place to his opponent saying, can you stick my Yeti, please? I don't know if they're going to fall for it, but
Wants some extra value out of that Yeti.
I decided to go for the close cocoon instead.
Yeah, so the Fan is winning both expeditions currently again. And yeah, Cole has the last place, so might still be able to just win on that hero side and go for one for one again.
Yeah, not for 1 wouldn't be too bad for them, I guess, because they have a 2 expedition lead. Where I'm getting a little bit more worried is the amount of cards in hand.
Yeah,
They're down to like a single card, which they would have to play, not just get like 2 here.
yeah, that's
Meanwhile,
definitely
Fan,
very
like,
scary.
yeah, Fan has a bunch of cards. The Trickster would also accrue more card advantage, plus their rare ability, obviously. Oh, okay. So yeah, so they are indeed like getting the trade here.
Yeah, I'd still favor the fan a bit because they are up 1 mana now and do have a bunch of card advantage here at this point. But yeah, that his Sleep Jack Frost for the next turn with the 4 stats already also doesn't look too bad, and I really don't like the Yeti from reserve because it's so expensive.
Yeah,
But yeah, maybe it's still playable.
you would even want to be slept right from reserve again so that you get the boost more. So you
Yeah.
get one more round of the boost.
I think there are some uniques that sleep on play, so you get the extra value out of the boosts. But yeah, the common version definitely doesn't have that. And we do see a Icebound Tiger played, so interesting. You'd have to have forest biomes for that, and yeah, Cole actually shifting his expeditions to forest with that Persephone, so he actually can get stacks onto his Iceborne Tiger, but yeah, otherwise there would currently be no way to get the
Not
stacks
what
onto
I
it.
was expecting. My Diabetes is being played on the fan side. Ooh, that's a spicy one.
Yeah.
Uh,
Discarding an Asmodeus, so yeah, with the Hydrocana and
wow.
another Hydrocana, definitely two very strong hits. And yeah, have you ever seen a better Mind of Phosphosis? I'm not sure. So if that sticks and Cole doesn't find any beauty sleeps, I think these Hydras might just be able to get the game.
I'm getting a bit nervous from Cole playing the Persephone on this side. I
I think
was hoping that they would at least like get a 1/1 this turn.
yeah, with the one card in hand, he should still get the 1/1, and I think he just opened himself up some flexibility on.
Okay, I guess that works. But like, I would have really liked to keep this for next turn.
Yeah, so I would have liked that as well. Yeah, I thought he wanted to have flexibility to play another character after the Trickster was played, and he could then maybe either win on the side the Trickster was played on, or just take the other expedition if he realizes he can't win that. But using that Beauty Sleep already to win a single expedition and to run off these Hydras seems like a bit early to me. But yeah, maybe Cole can show us that it wasn't too early, and he can now also. Well, right now Cole is basically forced to play on that companion expedition just to get the dragon out of the Icebound Tiger, but therefore still can put that dragon onto either side and potentially sleep a Hydra on either side. So still a bit of still very hard decision making for the fan right now to commit to one side, but yeah, I think with three being ahead 3 mana and having 2 Hydra gainers at this point, they should still be favored.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's interesting for sure. At the same time, like Cole is really incentivized to commit on the companion side because of the forest biome.
Yeah.
So I think if you're the fan player, you kind of have the tell that like that's where things are going to happen. At the same time, like this beauty sleep is a bit menacing.
Yeah. And I'm just this fan list is definitely something. Playing all the expensive spells and characters you can, seeing an Asmodeus, seeing Mind Forces, and now also seeing a Winter Nova.
Winter Nova.
Yeah, that's very interesting. That's oh yeah, removing that Iceborne Tiger first and then still getting 2 options to probably just generate moths.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, also just exhausting the reserve, so Cole has only 2 cards available and now passes, and yeah, that looks like a play like that is at least going into overtime, but possibly also just winning next turn. I think the Beauty Sleep might not be enough next turn, and yeah, that the double Hydra of the Mind of Hostios. I'm still very surprised that happened.
Yeah, I have to almost feel like if if Cole had kept that Beauty Sleep for last turn, like he would have been able to do something, right? Like if one of his cards was a cracked, I don't know. Anyways, there's no point in like really redoing the game, but yeah, some silly things happening from this fan side, so I'm here for it.
Yeah. And now also the fan is just able to slow play with that Martin Gale from hand to make
Yeah, great
sure
resupply
there's
for sure.
that
Oh,
Lost in
Lost
the
in the
Woods
Woods.
is very
Okay.
nice. And yeah, that's actually possibly giving Cole a way back into overtime. I'm not too convinced it's winning the game since there's still one Hydra left and going into overtime. You basically have to keep your we see another Mind of
All right.
Hostios.
Yeah, going for it.
Hmm, I think I just saw Kaibara that was able to. Yeah, there's a Kaibara for defense. Yeah.
Oh,
And a
two
second
Kaibaras,
Kaibara.
of course.
Yeah, okay, of course. Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, Jay Smith like really figured out how to get the mind hypothesis to work. You just have
Yeah.
to find 2 7+ mana cards every time.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad we got to cover this game because
Yeah.
we wouldn't have seen this in the
Be a
top
fun one.
tables.
Definitely not, but getting high rolls like that would definitely also win against other maybe meta decks even. but sadly the Kaibaras being adjacent, they don't have any tough right now. So
Oh
if
yeah.
there is another one cost and another beauty sleep, there's potential for overtime. But yeah, you're definitely losing overtime into this. And that Nisa also just shutting down the potential for one cost plus beauty sleep. And yeah. what a what, some very fun Mind Fastios rolls. I'm glad we got to see that.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, that was great.
Another successful curse. Cole just blaming us for his loss.
Yeah, Cole, I was cheering for the Teja, but someone found how to cheat at the game, so here we are. That's a
Yeah.
joke, of course. All right, I'm gonna take the game that is least progressed next, which is
Sure,
Javi Navarro versus Fronde or Frond.
sure.
Oh, and we have a Basira in the place, so another hero I'm
That's cool.
excited to see.
Yeah. I've seen some players have decent performances with Kasira, and I think most of them ran Osmos that had a two-way that had two draws when leaving expedition or when at dusk, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And those look very nice just for card advantage. But yeah, maybe there's also possibility for other uniques in Basira. I was testing Basira a lot with uniques that gave boosts when a character joined your expeditions. But yeah, this also looks very nice. And the Basira currently is up one expedition over the Afanas, but obviously has quite a lot fewer cards available to themselves. And we do see already a at dusk spell bouncing spindle for the Afanas. So they have the setup they want basically already and can gain as much card advantage as possible until they have to commit to not losing the game. And yeah, I think it's already a very strong position for the Afanas.
Yeah, and they have the sleight of hand also to like do some of those shenanigans, like getting off you go back, or or even magical training. So this might be a bit rough for Basira right now. Like Basira usually trying to commit onto one creature, one character as well, and this off you go being super threatening.
Yeah, and also the Basira's down one mana. Yeah, it seems like they used mana eruption last turn to get rid of a character. And I think it seemingly was a mage dancer.
Probably mid.
So yeah, we see already another at dusk, the spell bouncing Spindle Harvester, and the setup already is very strong for the Afanas.
So it's basically the same one, but with one more water stats and
Yeah.
different support ability. So yeah, pretty strong spindle harvester there.
And the last unique was a token generator from Navarre, I think, that we've seen earlier. The
Yes,
Ordis Cadet.
I think we did see it. Yeah, the Ordis Cadet, we see it on an earlier round.
Yeah, we do see the just mentioned off you go onto that Bravos Vanguard to make sure to win on that hero expedition, and possibly also just bouncing your magical training with the Sleight of Hand to get more boosts onto your Spindle Harvester in the hero companion expedition. But I think with that Fire Rabbit play from reserve and the if it gets fleeting, the 2 additional boosts onto that Chiron should be enough probably to win on that companion expedition for now. Also, just another off you go from hand would of course win that, but you'd have to have 3 off you goes at this point in hand or reserve, and that doesn't seem too likely, but it's still a possibility for that it is there. So yeah, committing onto only one character seems a bit scary, but yeah, you'd have to do it at this point to be able to progress at all. And then we do see that Beauty Sleep to sleep that Chiron and give the double expedition win for the Afanas. And yeah, the Basira already very starved on resources with potentially just 2 cards available to them next turn, unless they decide to not mana, of course. Then they have 3 cards with only 6 mana and being down 2 mana already. And just these at dusk spell bouncing spindles being able to get back 2 of the cards already, just so strong with
Yeah,
the value they provide.
yeah, that's where like those uniques are like extremely strong. Is you can see that they were not even like the Afanas player wasn't even scared about cramping their reserve here because like they just get 2 cards
Yeah.
back and they can pick like the 2 best cards to get back to.
And it's always interesting to see the decisions to which card you're discarding, and they're definitely valuing the sleight of hand over the magical training. But yeah, I can definitely understand that the sleight of hand can now be played from reserve, while the magical training you would have to hope to return at dusk. And I think they already picked up one
I
magical
think they
training.
picked up like 1 magical training, 1 off you go to get like maximum flexibility.
Yeah.
And then the sleight of hand is basically like another copy of whichever card they want to have next turn.
So 2 mage dancers are already out, but if there's now a mage dancer available to the Afanas on that hero side, I think they are likely to get enough stats on either side to just win the game from this point on.
So yeah, the Aclus is going to be like denying both cards in reserve, except like Afanas still having 5 cards in hand is probably going to be able to get plenty done.
Yeah, and also this Aklut is very nice into Afanas, because when your opponent plays spells, you can afterwards still play other characters to boost, and boost therefore your Aklut to exhaust these just played spells again.
Yeah, really good points.
But we do see the Moth to a Flame to contest the hero side that way, and the Basira has now a single card left to them and has to basically commit to 1 expedition to hopefully win that, because I think otherwise you're giving up at least 1 of the expeditions anyway, and if the Afanas is getting another double advance this turn, you've lost the game sadly. And yeah, that's
yeah,
what they're
and
trying.
they know there is a off you go, so a good play on their part to push on the hero side, because they would have already lost on the companion side, except like Afanas being able to play another spell would get them to win. Oh yeah, and helping and being even stronger because it's two
I think
boosts.
with helping hand that they're actually not yet winning. They'd have to have.
They can play it again, right? On the
Yeah, they can play it again, but it's not enough to win on.
because they're
The
not on
hero
the right
side.
biomes. Okay. Oh,
Oh yeah,
but they also have beauty sleep. Okay, yeah. I mean, they could also have it all. I mean, that's kind of I think what we often see Afanas doing though. But yeah, they really had a really good hand there. All right,
Yeah.
so yeah, taking it to this turn and got a pretty quick game, like with 8 mana on 5 turns.
Yeah.
Like yeah, all right. Um, so yeah, let's see what else we can get out of this round. Tournament. This was probably one of the last matches. There's only like 2 games left.
Yeah.
Oh, we have a Subash versus um, Sigmar. Maybe we can catch the end of that.
Okay.
It's Westwell and Lico 25.
Okay. Yeah. And we see another sticky seal notes in a Sigmar list that yeah, it's not a good card. Don't play it. Don't play it.
Did it get to at least target something this time? Yeah, it targeted an Athena.
Oh, wait,
So
am
maybe
I
not
seeing that
completely.
correctly? The Sigmar has 28 cards in the deck.
Oh,
Okay.
you mean 82 cards? Yeah.
Yeah, 82. Yeah, I haven't
Yeah.
seen that. They
I don't
just
know.
put every card they had into the list.
Maybe.
Interesting decision. Okay, isn't there a deck limit for 60 cards, or is there just
I don't know. I think it's like it's supposed to be 60 card, but I think it's like not enforced by the
okay?
I mean, there are not supposed to be any limit from in the actual rules of the game. But I
Yeah.
thought they'd put any limit on the deck builder because they thought like, well, no one was going to be crazy enough to play more than 60 cards. And
Yeah.
maybe enough people complained that they reverted. I'm not sure what happened there, but apparently
So we have to rename to what we have to rename 39 cards to 87
no,
cards. Or
right. No, we just can't we just can refuse to publish that deck list and we'll be fine. Don't worry.
yeah.
I've had some comments already on this, but I've said that the name is passive aggressive enough that you should get the message.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I think the last game is also on their last turn, so I don't know if we want to watch that. I guess we might as well. But we can already start to think about going into round 5. Maybe we're gonna start and watch the top tables.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, exactly. Call saying that goes in the shame section of 39 cards. It's another tab called not 39 cards.
Yeah.
I haven't done this one yet,
Perfect.
but sometimes we can do this.
Oh, the last game that's running right now is a Sigmar again against. Oh, that's the Bureaucrat Sigmar we've seen earlier against a Fen. And
Okay.
the bureaucrats are currently working quite well for the Sigmar, it seems. I'm really not sure how that works, but it's working.
Yeah, so how did they keep because they had to keep them around, right? Like they didn't have enough mana to.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing they use some no, how did they sleep they must have slept the AC talk there, right? Like
Yeah, maybe a
how did
Sandman
they do that?
from the Fen, but
Oh, kept it. Okay, yeah, maybe.
yeah, it doesn't seem like the Sigmar has any other tools that they could have
Yeah, I was
slept there.
expecting to see some hypothermia, but I'm not seeing any in the
Yeah,
cards.
I'm also not seeing it.
Yeah.
Hypothermia by now being one of my favorite cards. I like it in Sigmar, even though it's not really good in Sigmar, and I really like it in Varu. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems very
One
strong
of
in
my,
Waru, yeah. What is your thought about rallying call in Waru? Because that also sounds like an interesting tool.
You definitely need that card in
Okay.
Avaro list. Otherwise, yeah, for me, my game plan in Varu is I just stall as long as possible with what's it called, with easy talks, and then at some point I just contest with bodies, and therefore I have to have the rallying cards to get the stats. And here we see a rare rallying card to now boost up the Tanuki to get it anchored instead of asleep.
And yeah, but
I
is
think this
it
game could go to timeout soon.
Yeah, boss player in negative time now, so I'm still not sure how that works, but yeah, we'll see. I think if they have too big of a difference at some point, like one will be
Usually it stops either at exactly 30 minutes or at exactly 35 minutes, and whoever has more time left at that point wins the game. But you never know before how long the round is actually going. So it seems like right now that it could actually go 35 minutes instead of the 30, where it usually cuts off. And playing an easy talk to immediately get beauty steeped and just having a negative 3 mana trade can never feel good as a first play. And everything should basically just outstat the Sigmar at this point, with having basically wasted the 3 mana for a card that got basically instantly removed.
Right. Yeah, I guess you
Luckily
technically like negate the anchored Tanuki, but that's unlikely to be enough. Ooh, and another twinkle twinkle from the defense side.
Yeah, this twinkle should just be enough already.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Sigismar could have had a one cost, but even then. Right. So yeah, easy way for Fen to win there, and yeah, seems like it was a pretty contested game though, and very non-standard build of Sigismar.
Sadly, the bureaucrats not winning this time around. Sadly.
I'm sure a lot of people are going to be sad about this, but I'm sure a lot of people are going to throw up a party as well.
Yeah.
It was a little bit unreal to me, like how much hate Waru got after, especially like after the Robin Hood errata. Because like obviously our Robin Hood was like a problematic card, but it still seemed like it got a lot of flack after it. All right, so yeah, going into round 5, maybe we're gonna start to look at the top table. So let's maybe start by checking like how many undefeated players we have so far. We have 4 of them. Originality, Fintery 44. Those players we haven't seen yet in the tournament, so maybe we can take a look at one of them.
Yeah.
And then in third place we have Javi Navarro from team Hispanic Altered, which we watched earlier, and then Blue Ocean 76 is the last undefeated player. So yeah, maybe we can jump into table 1, 2 players that we haven't seen yet.
Sure.
One of them probably going to be on the final for this tournament.
Yeah. Also on the second table was Venturi, and I played Venturi last week with my Varu list, and he was on Sigismar, and usually Sigismar for my Varu list is a pretty much unwinnable matchup. But that was the one time I actually managed to win against a Sigismar, and I felt kind of bad because I thought at 2 more points in the game that it's just over, and I still managed to win that. The game was quite funny because I didn't advance at all, and he was head to head with his expeditions, and I at that point just won every single day, and he couldn't advance anymore, and that was very very funny to me.
All right. Yeah, and I'm still pretty amazed by the amount of European players playing in this tournament, even though it's, I guess with the time difference, it's only 2 a.m. now for you guys.
Yeah, the time difference actually made quite a nice change to have it. I think 1.5 hours earlier even. I think it usually started at 1:30 a.m. for us, and now it's at 12 p.m.
And so yeah, so Spanish player originality against Blue Ocean 76 French player. And yeah, Fan against Sigmar. Not too surprised to see those at the top tables.
Yeah.
And Fan already started with their unique Esmeralda, which is if I have 3 or more base statistic of 0 on characteristic control resupply. Okay, that's pretty interesting. I don't know that I've seen a lot of players like play around those 3 base statistics of 0 effects, but I know they can be pretty strong.
Usually you'd see them in Auroch, and also when you're seeing them in Fen, I'd expect you to run Serengrass as well, because that's one of the cards that has 2 0 stats and therefore is easier to activate it. And of course, the Serengar, when played also draws you a card, so still a very, very nice card to have. And also, we just saw a Frankenstein being resupplied from the Fen ability, and that usually means that you can expect to see a festival in the Fen list. And yeah,
that's exactly what I was going to ask. Yeah, so let's see if like that's what. Do you know originality? Have you seen like that list before?
No, I haven't, but I can actually take a look at the list at this point. And
yeah, we can take a look, but we can also try and get the surprise. So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out.
I just look at it, so I can also take a look at the uniques. Then that's always very nice. I think it's already a very difficult turn for the Fen, since there is a Baba Yaga that could potentially block the Esmeralda. But we do see an Nancy instead to overstat that Baba Yaga.
Yeah.
But
yeah, the
now
downside
they have to,
being that like they are going to overcrowd that reserve a little bit, right?
yeah, exactly. And no, this is actually a list without festival for the Fen. But on the other side, for the Sigmar, we do see 2 Grand Endeavors, and so yeah, some potential to close out the game as early as possible.
All right, and pretty strong Sandman, in my opinion, like being played on the Sigismar side.
Oh, yeah.
Control token target card against the sleep, so basically like always works.
Yeah.
A little bit less stats, but able to sleep something for 2 mana and still get a relevant body behind is pretty nice.
Also,
It's also an arrow
a,
effect, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the most important part for Sandman uniques, to get the sleep on play instead of just from hand. That just improves the card a lot, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
That Sigismar is actually running 2 Sandmans. The other one is a pretty much looks like the common version, but it has a charge effect as well, so slight upside on that part.
Pretty interesting. Yeah, and I think in season 1, like at least when I played a little bit of Fun, like Sigismar was always my kryptonite. It was like a really hard matchup to win, I think.
Yeah.
I wonder if like that has changed a little bit with Trial by Frost. Do you have any opinion on that?
I haven't. I've only played Sigismar for, I think, 3 days this set, and I have not played Fen at all this set, so I don't really have experience on that one. I'd expect it to still be very favored for the Sigismar, but getting fleeting online against a Sigismar can definitely hurt them in their resource game. So yeah, I think the Fen has ways to win it, but just due to the strength of Sigismar and
yeah,
just the token, I think it's still probably Sigismar favored.
Yeah, it would make sense. So the main like issue I think in season 1 that we complained about as Fen players is we had a lot of like cards with 0 stats in one of the biomes, like Hathor, or like even the Sunman, and so those were really hard to use effectively against Sigismar.
Yeah.
But nowadays, like so I don't know if Fen are playing Winter Close anymore. But that was one of the cards that I had my eyes on as like a potential way to fix those
I haven't
issues.
seen I haven't seen too many winter clothes, and there's also none in this list right here. But another card that's definitely seen a lot of play in Fence that made it more that made it more consistent is the Magpeng Hoarder. That's just it's oftentimes referenced as a baby Nancy. It's weaker stats, but it's also a 2-cost from hand. So yeah, it's a very nice card for instance. You basically always have 2 cards in reserve.
Yeah.
Therefore, you will pretty much always activate the effect from your Magpeng to be a 3/3 as a common card, and yeah, that's just solid stats to have. At this point in the game, the Fen is looking quite good with the setup for double expedition win, but the Sigmar of course can just play out the Baba Yaga to still win on that hero side in forest. The Fen would still get a advanced due to the mountain stats that they're still ahead in. But yeah, the Sigmar thinking about what to do right now. And yeah, we just see another Baba Yaga played from hand to get an additional draw and just win a single expedition and give up 2. But since the Sigmar won the previous day with a 2-0, they are now getting they are now still having a one expedition
1
lead.
point lead and starting to get a little bit of card advantage going, except for this Aloe Vera, which is also like relevant on the face side. So it's like pretty equal, I would say, like on both sides in terms of cards. The issue, well, the only like advantage from Sigismar being it has this one expedition lead, which is always like pretty relevant. Oh, and another Anansi being resupplied here. Pretty huge find for Fen, right?
Yeah. This turn right now, though, could just be a Grand Endeavor turn for the Sigmar. They do have a bunch of cards in hand, and there's definitely potential with 2 Grand Endeavors in the deck that could be just played now. It would leave open a out for the Fen to just double advance 2 days in a row and win that way. But that should be quite hard into a Sigmar. And yeah.
Yeah, especially with Fen playing first. Getting 2 might be a bit tricky, but they would be able to keep both Anansi in reserves, which would be pretty big threats.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see how if Sigismar wants to commit to that. It's always a bit scary, I feel like, as a to commit like 6 mana into as a first player. So I don't know how often like you can afford to do that as Sigismar.
Yeah, and we actually don't see it here. We see instead the Order Spy probably run onto one of the Anansis. Oh no, actually the Frankenstein. I think
to go for the
Frankenstein
Frankenstein,
is,
yeah.
I think it's only in the deck for the supportability. I don't really think you'd ever want to play it as a 4-cost from reserve, since it's not too good of stats for 4-cost. And here we see the earlier mentioned Magpeng Hoarder to tie up on that hero side.
Interesting, yeah, and trying to force the Sigismar player to play more things before committing those NNC to the board.
You know, I think the Fen is here in a good position still, having the mana lead and basically right now going second and being able to react to what the Sigmar is doing looks like a strong position for them.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's going to be pretty hard for Sigismar here to really get something going. I guess the question is more like how much resource do they want to force the Fen player to commit to?
Yeah, I think if the Sigmar has a 2 as a place of Baba Yaga, they force the first Anansi to follow onto that side, and if they afterwards have a 1-cost, they could also force the second Anansi to be played, and then maybe even be ahead in resources.
So yeah, Blue Ocean kind of still deep in the tank. Let's see what they come up with. Meanwhile, on other like undefeated table, I see Sigmar with a 1 expedition lead over Afanas, but they don't seem to have advanced too much. Sigmar still has 3 expedition to close, to Afanas is 4.
On our
Okay,
table
yeah,
right
so,
here,
yeah.
we've just seen the Sigmar use a teamwork training onto the only tying Mechpeng Hoarder to force out the Anansi to be played afterwards. I think that was probably not the best usage of a teamwork training, because just playing out the Baba Yaga from reserve would have done the same thing, and you wouldn't afterwards have to discard your auto spy, so you would have kept a little bit of card advantage. Now you just gave up basically an entire card for that, and
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I think the main like argument against it is also that the Anansi was straight up winning, right, with four stats.
Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of agree with you there. We'll see. I mean, we'll see how that turns out. But the fan seems to be in a pretty commanding lead now, and found then their third Anansi, right?
Oh yeah, that's and that
That's,
Anansi being a 5/5/5 very big stats. Now I just realized in that fan list there's an Eat Me Energy Bar and also a Magic Slay, so
ooh,
some
that's very
potential
spicy.
for some
Shenanigans.
spicy expedition permanents or some gears to be played here. But the Jack Frost shutting down the Sect Anansi that could be played from reserve. But we do see another Hoarder to win on that companion expedition.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting. I would have almost liked to see that being kept in hand as kind of a surprise thing, but maybe they have something better than the Ouroboros to play from hand.
Yeah, but there could also still be a permanent. There could still be a gear in hand for the pen, and even if it's the Magic Slay, it could now be discounted with the Incaster to
Yeah,
potentially
that's a
get
really
a
good
double
point. That would be a
win.
pretty spicy play. Okay, looks
But
like it's only the Incaster
sadly,
being played.
just the Incaster. But this is, of course, just leaves open the Baba Yaga to be played on companion side, and therefore trade expeditions. And yeah, there's pretty much nothing the fan can do about that anymore. And yeah, I think they're still fine with just trading for now.
Right.
Also, the Sigismars again losing another material at after at the end of the day, and yeah, that's
right. But this tiny gel like being a pretty good answer to potentially one of those Anansi, trading even on mana for like the big stats that Anansi are.
yeah. Tiny J is definitely one of the strongest additions to Sigismar. I feel like in set 2, just being able to remove so many different characters and being able to play it twice is probably on a level to compete with the efficiency of Off You Go.
Yeah, might even be better with like the only being a 2 cost from reserve, because like realistically, how often are you playing Off You Go from hand and from reserve on the same turn? So yeah, it's pretty strong card.
It definitely has its downsides to Off You Go, since it has to immediately hit characters that could otherwise be boosted, but it can also hit
its statistics
high
instead of
cost.
hand cast, yeah.
But it can also send to reserve high cost characters like Atlases or Easy Tox or whatever is high cost but doesn't have a lot of stats. And
Okay.
that always feels very sad when a tiny jail hits your high cost characters.
So yeah, I said those would be good answers to Anansi, but that's wrong, right? Because clearly Anansis are definitely going to be bigger than 3-3. Okay, so yeah, so Sigismar definitely not out of the woods yet.
The fan just keeps on getting these Anansis and Mechpeng hoarders.
Right. Yeah.
That's actually very nice for them to be able to get out stats on the board.
Yeah, and the Jack Frost probably hitting, one of those NNC.
Sadly, the Mechpeng hoarder is definitely in range for the tiny jail, and will probably, as soon as the Mechpeng is played, will be sent to discard.
Yeah,
from the
to
tiny jail.
the figurative shadow realm, as our friends over Yu-Gi-Oh call it. Yeah, so now it's kind of a game of chicken, right? Where the fan will try to delay as much as possible playing it, knowing that it has a target on its back. So like maybe if they have a more magical trainings or like other ways to stall out, they could play that first and try to get the Magman order as the last card.
Yeah. And committing to that companion side here for the Sigmar kind of seems to me like there's maybe another removal tool, maybe in a Sandman or another teamwork training for that Anansi to win on that hero expedition. And the fan therefore has to make the decision what they want to play now, if they can already afford to play the Mechpeng, or if they want to stall out the play of the tiny jail onto something else.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good good observation. All right, and on the other table, the French player Finturi took it over the Hispanic alter team player Javi Navarro. So Finturi is probably our first undefeated player of the evening.
Oh yeah.
And probably going to be matched up against the winner from this match for the final round.
Yeah.
I think they were on
There's
Sigismar.
there's that Sandman that I was talking about earlier, that from hand has the usual Sandman ability, but also has a charge ability that here basically got enough stats to block that Magpeng, but of course the Twinkle Twinkle can be used a second time, so the fan does have enough stats to just progress once and get that win. And yeah, then therefore our final table should be Venturi against Originality. So we can take a look on which tables are still running. This of course. Oh, I see on table this round on table 8 was a AQZ mirror match with Keelan Guy against Freeloader, and it seems like that Keelan Guy won that one. Unfortunate for Freeloader at this point. But yeah, there are still 1, 2, 3 tables running, and one of those tables is Cole. I think he's up against that 80 cards plus Sigismar deck. Oh no, it's actually a different player, but it was on the same table. I can't hear you if you're saying.
Oh, sorry, I was on mute.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, perfect.
Yeah. So was it the? So it was a different player who was on the 80 card deck.
Yeah, it was still on the same table with Lico, but I don't remember the other name.
We mixed
the
them
table.
which is all right.
And here it seems like Cole is in the lead again, and I've seen that Kojo was mentioning errors earlier in the stream chat, and yeah, now I know why. Because he's running errors in his in his stager list, and I didn't even know the ability from errors in Muna, that it is anchoring characters that it's playing for cheaper. But yeah, here getting, of course, the value for playing out and anchoring that tiny gen right here. Some nice value. And it seems like that's also the winning play, because that Frankenstein isn't able to compete with any of the stats that are put out from the arrows, and that should be a cold W. A rare arrows W.
Yes, so it was Westfield, the other player. It was on Sigmar, not Subash, playing the 99 card deck.
Oh, that's. Oh yeah, okay, I see.
All right, so yeah, and Cole takes it home there with the arrows play. Cole said, "Yeah, I already lost to Westfield. Shame on you. No
Yeah.
offense to to Westfield.
These Americans today just
I have
playing
to,
for
I have to make
fun
fun.
decks.
I have to make a little bit of fun of you for playing a 99 card deck. That's kind of what you signed up for. Just some friendly. All right, so yeah, I think okay,
Still
yeah,
two tables, one table,
one
one
match.
table
Nila
wrong.
Straw. So Chilean duel going on.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
yeah, I should swap. Sorry, one sec. They're probably on their last one as well, but we're gonna take a look. Quick peek. So yeah, Nilastra from his famous Nevenka player. Looks like he's in I don't want to say a little bit of trouble, because it sounds like he might be able to do something this turn, but we'll see. Afanas still has a lot of mana to work with, but pretty big.
Yeah, I think it's very, very cool to see how committed some players are to their decks. With
For sure, yeah.
Nilastra being one of the players that I always see on this Nevenka list. And yeah, I'm not sure if they're winning this right now against.
Ooh,
I
that's really
think that
strong.
they
Yeah.
just are. I think sleep onto the Sandman right now is winning on with that Tooth Fairy right now. So
Yep.
yes, should be
Yeah, and
after
there's the one. I think Nilastra is passed already anyway, but there wouldn't be any one mana card that would really get him there. So yeah, so Afanas will take it thanks to like some early lead, it seems.
Yeah, and we should then go into our final round. And yeah. Oh, it's only 6 matches, yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. And so our first table was going to be a rematch of the Fen versus Sigismar. So will the Fen player be able to take another one? Or will Sigismar get their revenge against Fen? I think we'll see in just a moment. Are you familiar with either of those players? Like their name don't ring a bell to me, but as I mentioned, I've been following a little bit less of the scene currently.
Turi, I've definitely seen the name around a few times. I'm not too sure about the tournament results, but definitely here getting to the 5-0 and maybe even winning the game. Seems to be a solid player, but originality. I've heard that name a few times, but that don't recall any specific decks or heroes to be played from them. But we have another European finals, so a French versus a Spanish player, and yeah, sadly now American representation in the finals. I thought it's their tournament.
Yeah, so looking up those players, Finchery went 5-1 in the A.W.O.L on Monday, not this week, but last week. Playing another Sigmar deck, so presumably similar one.
Yeah.
And Originality got a 4-2 in the same tournament, also with a friend Globalist. Interestingly, they also got a 4-2 in the No Unique tournament we were mentioning earlier. Not the one this week, but the one last week. They were playing Traced. Looks like they played quite a bit of Traced earlier last season. So interesting to see that they managed to bring back that deck for the No Unique tournament. But here we are seeing like a full-on with Unix tournaments, and already those players are taking advantage of this with this Yongsu. Kind of an interesting effect, right? Like if you have 3 statistics of zeros, the next spell costs 1 less. That seems like something I wouldn't consider as like a top tier unique, but maybe supportability is something more interesting.
Also, the Esmeralda and the Frankenstein that we've seen last game, I wouldn't consider them anything optimal for a finalist. And I also think that this Youngsu is probably now from reserve more likely be used as a support for the supportability instead of a body, but still getting a 4/4 body on a 3-cost character still decent value. Of course, not optimal for a unique, but it's still better than nothing if you are. And this seems like again you're able to play your fan lists without so expensive uniques, and that's a very cool showing.
Yeah, I don't even know really what are the expensive uniques from the Lyra faction. I'm guessing like the one that give a bunch of fleeting are probably the ones that are more in demand.
I think the fleeting ones, anchored ones, and the spell order card bouncing ones
they have some spell bounce cards, right? Like those are pretty strong. Especially the one that like roll dices, but those are more for Nevenka, obviously. Sorry.
Yeah, there are also. I know from Alriri especially that they are running. I think that are mostly 2-cost paper heralds that have some sort of discard or cards from reserve to either bounce or draw cards, and that's a cool type of unique. And yeah, this is an interesting play from the Sigmar saying, well, I could advance you possibly with another 2-cost from hand, but I'm deciding to rather use my legate from reserve to sabotage your guaranteed anchor onto your alloy next turn, and therefore it's easier for me to contest in the long run with the alloy only being anchored for 1 turn.
Yeah, playing the long game for the card advantage. Yeah, definitely an interesting choice.
And seeing a resupplied Capella training is always a bit scary for a Sigmar, because you have to be careful on which character you play first, or what's your most valuable character that you don't want to get fleeting immediately. And the MacPain currently sadly doesn't have the 2-card requirement active to get the additional boost, so it's currently just a 2-mana 2/2 instead of the 2-mana 3/3. That's quite a bit more valuable.
Yeah, definitely a bit sad as a 2-mana 2/2. I mean, they could still make it. They could still enable it with like maybe, I don't know, a magical training or some card like this, but they also don't have to. It could also chill in reserve for a turn.
And I really like this play of the Audis Attorney from the Sigmar. Basically forces the Fen to rather play for the hero expedition, since you don't really want to give the guaranteed draw to the Attorney. But it starts to Capella training the Attorney to make sure it can't be played a second time and potentially draw a second card. And we do see a Sandman to probably just sleep the Orders Attorney and get the guaranteed card draw from that this turn.
Yeah, so that's a really good. I mean, the Acapella training was a pretty good play, yeah, from the fan player. I feel like because this Sandman is somehow like still solving some of those problems, right? Like they weren't sure if they wanted to commit on the company side. Now they know for sure that they don't want to,
Yeah.
and they still have to resolve some problems on the hero side, or it's like do something. But the Acapella training being super strong here.
I feel like the best answer right here would
Oh,
either be Off You Go that we see right here, or
on the okay, interesting.
also a Cloth Cocoon that would have also removed the Orders Attorney. But
Yeah,
removing that Orders Attorney right here is very important for the game plan of for being able to keep playing the game, because next turn you're going into a 4/4 expedition and also a Sandman that's going down to that hero expedition to also be for 2 mana already be 4/4 that you or 4 stats in mountain that you have to contest, which is quite hard if you don't have the Anansis already, and also no active mech ping. But for the next turn the Hoarder would definitely be active, since you're getting the at noon resupply from your fan ability.
Yeah. Oh, and the Itme energy bar being resupplied here. This should put a bit of pressure on the Sigmar player. Okay, interesting. Like, so choosing to go for the Aloe VR first, doing like the full commit. This means the energy bar isn't looking too great here, right? Because Aloe Vera isn't really contesting much on the hero side, but they still have
It's
the magma.
basically still contesting a Sandman play onto the hero side. You're not winning yourself, but you're at least blocking the Sandman itself.
Okay,
And
fair point.
yeah, you could still just set up the energy bar onto hero side without playing anything else for the next turn. But I think also just playing it on companion side could be annoying enough already. And also, I just took a look at the Sigmar uniques, and there is a 1 mana Paper Herald that is a token generator in Companion Expedition, so a very decent one. And we do see the Order Skeletts that are also a token generator and do already on play generate a token into the Hero Expedition. And also, there is a Gian Assembly Overseer that is a double token generator when you play a character. So and that's also for
So definitely like pretty strong uniques from Finchery, the triple token generator. And seeing one of them is already a good start. How likely is it, do you think, for Finchery to be able to challenge this Aloe Vera here, assuming that originality plays, let's say, like only the Magping order? Oh, looks like we lost Runefolk for a second here. Let me see what happened.
the Aloe if there's now an Eat Me energy bar coming down. But the fan does have a acapella training to get rid of the Order Skeletts for the next turn, since they look very powerful this turn. And I think with the Sandman plus another character from hand, the Sigmar can just take a double advance right here.
Okay, so the fan like chose to acapella training the card just to make sure that like they don't have to face it 2 turns in a row, even if that means like losing 2 sides here. Also, maybe with the idea that if the Sigismar player was to play something from hand, they can still they can steal like Apella training it again, which yeah, it's interesting. They do. I guess it's because like the Sandman is doesn't have the right stats to do that, but
Yeah.
okay. So yeah, they chose to let the fleeting happen and keep the Sandman in reserves. That's yeah, interesting play.
Yeah. I think it's a fine play you're going up to, and if you're running Grand Endeavor on your deck, which the Sigisma is, I think the
Yeah, you
Grand
don't
Endeavor
really
itself
care
could
about.
just
Yeah,
be winning the game right now.
yeah, that's fair. Yeah, you don't care as much about the card disadvantage if you just close the game.
Yeah. No,
So would the Grand Endeavor win the game? So it wouldn't be
no,
guaranteed to win
not
the game, right?
not quite yet, since
But
the
because Fan could double advance, but it would put pressure on
yeah
the Fan to double advance also next turn, which
yeah.
might not be so easy. Yeah, it would be interesting. Interesting play.
But for now, with the Aria that's sticking around and a potential energy bar, the Fan also looks set up quite nicely, and the Sigisma already being on only 3 cards available to them isn't looking too great. When
Yeah,
you
agreed.
love to
Oh,
see
this
that
Hatter is
single
also
Nancy
pretty
resupplied.
huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hatter also being pretty huge because Diallo Aurora is like on the perfect biomes to advance twice.
Yeah. And that Nancy just to go onto hero side together with that Eat Me Energy bar also looks very nice. There we see the second unique, that's a double token generator, and looking to win on that companion side.
Okay, and Tanuki, yeah, getting rid of the Sandman, really putting pressure on the cards from Finchery, because only one
There's
card in
no
hand means like they only get one chance to trigger the giant
yeah
with a giant, except maybe like if they had like a Baba Yaga or something that would replace itself.
yeah. I think
Sigmar doesn't have too many of those. Yeah,
I think Baba Yaga is probably the best card right here to have in hand, just to get the trigger for your Gian twice. Otherwise, it still looks like a rough turn for the Sigisma.
definitely. Yeah, I don't know if they're playing also like I forget what's the name, but like the card that resupplies if you control a token, but it doesn't look like they're playing it.
Yeah. The orders at the Monolith Rune Scrap.
Yeah, the Rune Scribe, yeah. Good call, good memory.
But I just see the Sigisma is also running a single copy of Ebenezer Scrooge, which is funny to me. Seeing that card being played.
The cheeky Scrooge.
Yeah. And we just see a pass from the Sigisma and say, well, I know I can't win
Okay, yeah.
an expedition this turn, so just preserving the one card they have in hand.
Mm-hmm.
But the Fen is still looking very good.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, they're going to be even on expeditions, and this aloe vera being anchored on like a pretty relevant biome is
Yeah.
good sign.
Also, this Gian now being 3 cost from reserve feels a lot harder to play, and you basically have to mana again because having you'd have to have 2 cards
that
that
costs
are
one.
2 cost from hand, and they did mana, so they currently it looks like they only get
Ooh, and the close cocoon here is
2
huge,
potential
right?
procs
Because
from
like
there.
as soon as the giant
Oh
is
yeah,
played, like they can get rid of it and deny any
yeah,
value from it. Yeah, I think I really like the fan player. It feels easy for me to say now, but yeah, really like the
yeah.
fan player here. And like Dunn and C are like, yeah, going to be huge. The other one's going to be a 5/5/5. Yeah, and the Sigismar player seeing the writing on the wall here saying GG to their opponents. Originality going to get there with the 6-0 tonight. And
It's
bringing defeating 2 Sigismar in a row on those last rounds to get the trophy.
it's very amazing. Just based on the uniques, this fan list doesn't look too strong, and with these uniques going 6-0, it gives me hope that other players without decent uniques without strong uniques can also just repeat this performance. This is very, very,
Yeah,
very,
and
very cool to see.
I was just saying earlier that on season 1, Fen felt like it had a terrible matchup into Sigmar, but also seeing it beat Sigmar twice today is giving me some hope that that Fen is good again. I mean, I think
Yeah.
we have seen like some good results from Fen in general, but I've also been playing locally, and I really like the deck. Like again, I was saying I haven't played a ton of Altered recently, but I've had some pretty good fun with Fen. So definitely one of my my favorite hero. Okay, so yeah, this game is over now. We can try to maybe catch a glimpse of one last match, but this will round up for tonight. And I know it's really late for you, so do we want to have a quick look at the Kalon guy and see if we can
Sure. Oh, getting to curse Kilon
give them a
sounds
little bit
very
of
good.
the curse going? Exactly.
Yeah.
Play against Chilean Agile player on Afanas. Right, trying to catch up on chat. Sorry, I'm not too used to that. I see
Yeah,
Blue in there. Hey, Blue.
I also haven't looked at chat the entire match.
And some people giving us praise. So yeah, kudos to you, Runefolk, and thanks, Cole and Simon, for the encouraging comments. It's definitely a lot of fun to watch those tournaments and get to
Yeah.
comment them.
Oh, we see an Afanas mirror match. And we the bottom Afanas is ahead and didn't have a small step to begin the day. And Keelan has to play catch up right now. But yeah, the Tooth Fairy to get rid of the Twinkle Twinkle. Oh no, actually the Off You Go is a nice card already. But
Magical
the magical
training, the
training
rare
card,
one, especially, like going to be
yeah,
pretty good here.
that looks very strong. Yeah, and Keelan
I
now
think
says
Kalon, like, yeah, okay,
with the Twinkle
give up.
Twinkle, you can stall too long. It's over, and yeah. We got to curse Keelan for final day.
Okay, yeah, I feel like we didn't do most of the job there, but I'll take
Yeah,
take it
that's
anyway.
true. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, we're going to probably close this. Actually, let me see if I can catch a little bit of the top finishers. I don't think our scene is super set up for it, but I'll try it anyway. Oh, that's not so bad. Okay. So yeah, there we have it. Originality as a recap, like on Fan taking the trophy today. And then we
I think
have
that there's still a bunch of games running, so we haven't locked the top 16 yet. So we sadly
no,
still have to
yeah,
wait.
no, we definitely haven't locked the top 16. I don't know if there are any players that can still make it to 5-1. I think probably. So let's see. Will, Zix, and Smith. Where are they?
Yeah, the top
Smith
players
was
are
on 3 wins, so they can get to 4-2. And Will Zix same record, so they could both improve to 4-2. So yeah, maybe some 4-2s are still going to be added there, but the 5-1s are also locked up, even though the ranking might be shuffled. But yeah, we have
if
Bruiser
you
from
want,
After You. I'm not sure what Bruiser was on. Did you watch them? I feel like we watched
on Lindy, we had
Lindy.
one
Yeah, I
game
think
with
we caught a
the
glimpse
Lindy
of it.
mirror. What?
Front was on Sigismar, right?
I can't remember.
Ravi Navarro was on, I think, Afanas. Angel was on Afanas, we just
Yeah.
watched them. Finchery on Sigismar. and Blue Ocean. What was Blue Ocean on again? I think we watched a game. We watched them for a game, but
one game
I
we
can't
watched
remember.
it was Sigmar.
Also, okay. So
That
yeah, a
also
bunch of
lost its
Sigismar.
originality.
Sorry. So yeah, a couple of Sigismar, the 5-1, and then rounded up with a few Afanas, and maybe someone that I'm forgetting in there. So yeah, I think front we weren't sure what they were on. Oh, they played against no, yeah. Okay, yeah. Anyways, we'll get to see all the results soon enough on 39cards.com. Shameless plug for for the website. Any
It's
closing
amazing.
thought, Runefolk? First of all, like thanks a lot for commenting this with me. I know this was a really long day for you with
Yeah.
the commentary of the No Unique tournament earlier. But I was glad that you were able to sub for the last time, and it was a lot of fun to catch this tournament with you. Any closing thoughts? Yeah.
It's also always fun to for me to commentate these. Yeah, it's for me this time around. It was definitely interesting to see a fan player with, I'd say, definitely suboptimal uniques win the whole thing and get to 6-0. That's very exciting. We haven't seen all of the players. I see all of the marbles also got on table 2, but lost that. So, and we also didn't get to see no Reno on any games. So yeah, I'm definitely looking out for what all of the players at the end played. But yeah, definitely interesting to once again be here and commentate all the games and see the players I wanted to see on stream.
Yeah, I
That's
like that we
that's
also
one
got
thing
to
on
see
stream.
like some silliness, like this,
Yeah.
like those crazy apotheosis from against
Yeah.
Kohlrabi. So sorry again, Kohlrabi, that you were the receiver of this, but we had a lot of fun watching this. It's cool to see that, like, yeah, Alta doesn't have to always be like also this super competitive game, but sometimes like
Yeah.
some players can bring some silly ideas and have fun with it. Um, but yeah, either way, this was a pretty cool tournament to cover. Um, and yeah, thanks again, Runefolk, for
Yeah.
uh, joining me here. And thanks everyone who joined on chat. Stay tuned, and yeah, we'll be back next week for more Altered.
And I'll probably already be back to tomorrow for the Thursday's event on the AQZ Championship. Not sure. I think I will also be on stream. It's probably with Pandy, Andy, and Kilon guy as well. So yeah, if you haven't signed up for that and still wants to some altered, I think we still have a bunch of slots free for tomorrow. And yeah, I'm excited to see everyone there again.
It's kind of crazy to see like the amount of tournaments
Yeah.
being played now. There's almost one every day of the week now, I think. Plus, like
Yeah.
I know there are some like bigger events on the weekends in France, especially. And yeah, we also have the Tumult Championships coming up in a
Oh
few
yeah, I'm
weeks in
excited.
Warsaw. Like I don't know if you have one locally, but I know my local community is pretty excited about them.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen, there was a video from Equinox today or yesterday. I don't know, like that was teasing a little bit more of those tournaments. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, don't forget to watch the team AQZ tomorrow for
Oh
their
yeah,
tournament.
and just another shout out for Blue. I think Blue Oak TV on YouTube. I think today uploaded a video to introduce some teams, and today he had an interview with AQZ and Pandy Andy, Pluka, and Kilan Guy. So yeah, if you wanted to get our team to know a little bit better, maybe you can check that out.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it entirely yet before the stream, but we'll definitely do it now. And yeah,
Yeah. So YouTube
I've heard
channel. Yeah.
it was a bit spicy sometimes.
Awesome. Yeah, that should be super interesting, and I'll try to catch this. Yeah, YouTube channel Blue Oak TV, also one of the regular commentator for A.W.O.L, and done a ton of work to get us set up. So big shout out to Blue, and for sure check
Yeah,
out his channel. All right. So yeah, I'll get this off here. Thanks everyone. I'll see you next week.
see you next week.